Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Oh, my name is Mitchell Renz. Y'all are watching the Raiders Report, and I don't even know how many times I've already done that today. But if you feel like you've had to do it, then please type me down below so I know I'm not the only one. Coming up here live on today's show, I want to have some fun today. And I know I'm not the only one frustrated about this Raiders situation. I know I'm not the only one that needs to vent about whatever the hell I saw yesterday, because I've seen a lot of Raiders games, and it's kind of hard to imagine that we're actually finding ways to get worse and worse and worse as the season goes on. I'm going to do my best to do a little bit of a recap here for this Raiders-Chiefs game, and to Gary Gonzalez, to Matthias Abner, to Big Luck, Bernardo Esco, Angel Nava. I mean this. I love the fact that y'all are here. I thank you guys for still pulling up here and not giving up on the Raiders Report, because you can be mad at Pete Carroll and the Raiders, but I do hope at least that you never give up on the Raiders Report. So we will still talk a little bit here about the Raiders and Chiefs game, and this is where when I do Monday shows, it's really important for the audience, for you, to send in your questions, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat, to vent your frustrations, because I know my voice is loud. The point of this Monday show is to make sure that all of our voices are heard, because I don't know what it is going to take to get change, but I at least want my voice to be heard. And I think that I don't know if Pete Carroll is going to do anything. I don't know if Mark Davis is going to do anything. I don't know if Chip Kelly, I don't know what this team's plan is. But I will not go down without a fight. And if you feel the exact same way, I hope that you vent today here on the show. Next thing coming up here on the program, we're going to talk about the Pete Carroll circus. And this was maybe one of the hardest things I've ever had to do since covering this team. But I went back and I looked at the Raiders and Chiefs game, and I found the 5 dumbest things that this coaching staff and Pete Carroll decided to do against the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm telling you this, finding only 5 things was really, really, really difficult to do. But I found what I believe to be the 5 dumbest from those decisions. Then we will look at our storylines heading into Week 8. The fact that the Raiders are on a bye, thank the Lord we can't lose this week. But also the NFL trade deadline. There is going to be tons, and I mean tons, of trade rumors this week and next week around the Las Vegas Raiders. It's not going to be, it shouldn't surprise anybody. I'll talk about which players I think could end up being dealt. Jacoby Myers is the most obvious name out of them all. But man, oh man, a lot of storylines going in to Week 8. So now I also am just learning that Venmo is down. So I saw somebody already ask, Mitch, are we going to be doing a duck race today? Yes, we are doing a duck race, but it is not on Venmo. If you want to get featured in our duck race, you send in a super chat. Now, some of you are probably going, well, wait a minute, Mitch. I thought I couldn't get money. Unfortunately, because Venmo is down, AWS is down in general, I can't do a Venmo duck race today. So I said, this is what we're going to do. I want people to vent, and I want people to talk to me live on Monday episodes. So if you send in a super chat, we're going to put your name in a duck race at the very end of the show. Winner gets 100 raffle tickets for a chance to win a signed Raiders jersey. That jersey is either going to be a Bo Jackson, a Max Crosby, a Jack Tatum. It is 1 out of 6 potential Raiders jerseys that it can be. There's a photo of what the Raiders mystery box is if you want to be able to show that photo. Shout out to my guy Lopez. He's with me today because the Texans play very, very late. Chugs will not be in until later. I will have Reed later on tonight for Monday Night Football and Game 7 of the ALCS, so please keep that in mind. But if you want a chance to win one of these jerseys that you see on screen here, a signed Tim Brown, Crosby, Woodson, Stabler, Bo Jackson, or Jack Tatum, if you send in a super, you have a chance to win this jersey today, and whoever comes in first place, you're getting 100 raffle tickets for a shot to win one of these jerseys. But that's not the only deals that I got coming up here on the program today. If you want a chance to win one of those jerseys, send in a super, vent your frustrations. Let's talk about the game yesterday. Let's talk about the direction and where we are heading going forward. If you're like, Mitch, I just want one raffle entry, every $5 super chat, no matter what, you're going to have a chance to win. If you need to scream, I'll do it for you. You send in a $20 super chat. You tell me what you want to vent, and I am going to scream as loud as I possibly can. If you send in a hundo, I'm going to count it as a bang, and you're going to get 50 raffle tickets for a shot to win that jersey. But again, the way Monday has to go, I need a lot of questions flowing in here from Raider Nation. Let's go to the very first one. Angel, what's going on, dude? In 1995, I fell in love with the Raiders because of their mystique. Yesterday's game made me emotional. This ain't the Raiders I fell in love with. You know, I don't disagree with it. Now, I don't remember 1995, I'll be honest with you. But to me, everything that in my mind, what being a Raider embodies and like what being a Raider means, right? And maybe it's a difficult conversation, but the way that I would say it is, think about what your last name is, Molina, right? Think about your last name, Nick Lopez. My last name is Renz. I carry that last name with a lot of pride. And if somebody were to besmirch my last name, if somebody were to do something that I felt like they were, you know, just doing something that doesn't make me proud of the Renz name, I would say something about it. And that's kind of how I feel right now being a Raiders fan, because there is nothing about this organization that is commitment to excellence. There is nothing about what I think the mindset of a Raider should be. Like, a mindset of a Raider, in my personal opinion, is someone who never gives up, that gives 110%, somebody that is feared by everybody else. Nobody fears the Las Vegas Raiders. This team has already quit, and we're only in week 7. I know how frustrated you are. I'm frustrated as well. But to me, I want the Raiders to care, because at least other teams that I've seen, like, you know, you can at least make the argument. The Antonio Pierce-led Raiders team, I mean, they at least showed some heart once in a while. They were not good, but they at least showed some heart. I mean, right now you got a football team that's lost. It's got no heart. It's got no direction. And, man, oh, man, it's not good, right? Not good. What up, Carl? You're next up here on the show. I was there. It was a poor game played. Best part was getting autographs and a glove, but shitty loss to pay for. Still a big FKC. I mean, it's always going to be a big FKC, but when you really think about it, I mean, your offense got, 95 total yards? You didn't even get over 100 yards of total offense. I think you had 3 first downs. The Kansas City Chiefs had, I want to say, 30 first downs. You couldn't get stops. It didn't matter what you did. It literally didn't matter. And it got so bad that the Chiefs, your division rival, decided to put in Gardner Minshew and call the dogs off in the third quarter. I mean, I'll say this. I don't know the last time I saw an NFL game where the backup quarterback is in before the fourth quarter and the other team is already taking it easy on the opponent that they're going against. I mean, I've seen a lot of bad Raiders games, and I think that this is up there from top to bottom. You failed in every single aspect. There's not a single thing that I think that you can say the Raiders did well, and when you hired somebody like Pete Carroll, you thought that we would at least show some growth. It's week 7, and we're only going backwards. Like, we're not getting better. We're not. The Raiders are not improving in any possible way, and I don't know how you say that we're improving in any possible way. Let's go to my man, Rebel. What's up, Rebel Montana? We so ship. We not worse than the Giants or the Jets. I mean, I'm going to disagree with you. We are worse than the Giants, and I do think that we're worse than the Jets. I legitimately think the only team that is worse than the Las Vegas Raiders is the Tennessee Titans. And I look at that of what the last 6 games have been. When you talk about what the Raiders have looked like when they've had a week to prepare, from week 2 to right now, I don't know if there is actually a worse team in the NFL. And I say all that, and I know the Raiders beat the Tennessee Titans. But at the exact same time, imagine if that fumble by Geno Smith doesn't get overturned. I mean, that's a very, very different football game. Like, you know, we barely beat the Tennessee Titans. And quite frankly, I think got a few calls that went our way. I do legitimately think that the Raiders are the second worst team in the NFL because the Jets at least have a defense. And people want to poke holes at the Jets' offense. Have you watched the Raiders' offense? Because they might be the worst offense in the NFL. Let's go to Herman J. What up, Herman J.? What the hell is worse? Miami got blown out by an equally suck Cleveland team, or the Silver and Black got shut out by y'all's most hated rivals. I'm going to say the Raiders game is worse than Kansas City, because saying that we got shut out by our rivals, I actually don't even think explains how bad that game truly was. Like, Lope, can you show the list 10 from the overreaction video we did earlier today, and then also show the list 5 of the Chiefs? Like, we're talking about an offensive staff that you got, again, I think the other problem with the Raiders is Pete Carroll got everything he wanted. Pete Carroll got his quarterback. He got the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. And this was the offense that you put on display. Like, shit, at least in the Miami and Cleveland game, at least there were points scored. I mean, the Raiders didn't even put points on the board, y'all. Like, I mean, it was in all sorts of bad. Not only did you fail this bad on the offensive side of the football, you didn't even get in the 40-yard line of Kansas City. And then this is what your defense did, right? Like, you didn't stop anything. I know that the Chiefs are getting better and that Patrick Mahomes is playing solid football. Andy Reid is playing solid football. But, like, this is not your typical, oh, we lost to our division rival. This is a Division I Kansas City Chiefs team beat up a Division III Las Vegas Raiders. Like, the talent discrepancy is unbelievable. The coaching discrepancy is even worse. And the only reason why I'll say the Raiders are in a worse situation is because at least the Miami Dolphins are going to fire their head coach, Mike McDaniel, at the end of the season. When you hired Pete Carroll, I called it the most risky hire that the Raiders could make. And I said that the reason why hiring Pete Carroll is the most risky hire that you could do, if you don't believe me, go check out any of the videos that I did. I said it's risky because you're a Raiders organization that has failed to find one head coach, right? By you hiring at the time a 73-year-old, now a 74-year-old Pete Carroll that looks like he should be having, I don't know, life alert. He shouldn't be on the sidelines coaching a team. Maybe a 74-year-old shouldn't coach a team, right? But now, instead of you moving in the right direction, you hired a 74 head coach that looks like a complete disaster, and now you're going to have to hire somebody else in the next 2 to 3 years because, again, he's 74 years old. So it's like, not only was the Pete Carroll hiring a failure, it looks like whoever is going to take him over, is it going to come from this staff? I hope not, because there's not a single person on this staff that I think deserves the job, because there's not a single spot where the Raiders have improved. Like, I'll give anybody $100, minus Trey Tucker. Name one other position group, one other player on the Las Vegas Raiders that looks better this season under Pete Carroll and this regime. Go ahead. Let me know down in the comments section. I'll give you $100. Let's go to NYNTY5. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Who knows? Maybe you'll win 100 raffle tickets. What up, Aaron? Appreciate you tuning in, brother. Appreciate for all you do, Mitch. It blows my mind they don't improve on areas when it's so effing obvious. I think what's so effing obvious, and that's the frustrating part. Excuse me. It's frustrating because all week, the coaches say one thing, and us Raider fans are like, okay, talk is cheap until you show it. And then they just don't go out there and they don't show it, right? They're going to sit in the exact same defense over and over and over again. The safety play, it's never going to improve because you don't have any safeties that can cover. Your linebackers can't cover and teams pick you apart. I don't know why you didn't bench Kai Blue Kelly. That would have been cool. Imagine if you would have drafted 11 players and this was going to be a rebuild and you would actually play, the players that you drafted. But you're not doing that, so it's like, you're trying to win games, but you're not winning games. You're trying to rebuild, but you're not actually playing any of the younger players that it takes to rebuild. There is not a single thing that I think makes any sense that this organization is doing right now. But it's not only me. I appreciate y'all, right? Like, you sending this message in, bottom of my heart, dude, greatly appreciate it. And everybody watching this show right now, greatly appreciate it. But the way that you feel when you send this message in is the exact same way that I feel when you send it in. It is you're not giving up on me, I'm not giving up on you. Let's make sure our voices are as loud as humanly possibly can be because, I woke up this morning, my Mondays, I get up at 6 a.m. I get here into the studio at 7:30. Lopez over here, he gets here at 8 a.m. We don't get out of here until really late. And I think that there's just the other part of, You got guys making millions of dollars for that effort. Millions upon millions of dollars for the effort that y'all gave yesterday. I mean, imagine if I just went live on the Raiders Report. Let's just do this for 4 quarters. Ready? Let's do it. How's your day today, Lopez? Pretty good, huh?
So far, so good.
Yeah. The weather outside is weather.
I think it's like outside.
I think it's like 60 degrees right now.
Feeling great.
This coffee's pretty good. Can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a fun day. ALCS is tonight. Oh, wait. There's a game going on. It's the Raiders Report. Imagine if that's what we did for 3 hours, because that's honestly what I felt like the coaching staff did yesterday. That's what I felt like the players did. It was just a whole bunch of nothingness. I would love, and I bet y'all would love too, to be able to go to your job, sit there with your thumb up your ass, and just be like, it doesn't matter, I'm going to get paid. Because all I've seen is these players, these coaches, they show up on Sundays, and I'm surprised their buttholes don't hurt, because all they do is sitting on their thumbs the entire game. NYNTY. I think you figured out how to send in the super. What's up, brother? We got mercy killed. Bro, I didn't even think it was possible for an NFL team to get mercy run. And I know that it wasn't the worst loss in Raiders history. I know that it wasn't the worst loss in Raiders history. I actually had a few fans be like, Mitch, it could have been worse. We could have lost by 40 points. We should have lost by 40 points. But they called the dogs off. Your division rival called the dogs off of you in the third quarter. That is the definition of embarrassing. And I kind of agree with you, man. This felt like one of the most embarrassing Raiders losses that I have ever seen, because you literally didn't do anything well. You didn't even win the coin toss. The moment you walked out to the game, you didn't win anything. You didn't even win the coin toss. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Suicide guns. Ah! Suicide guns, what's up, man? I thought Circus Circus was the only circus in Vegas. Dorky Davis needs to sell the team. We deserve better. Pete belongs in a retirement home. You ever see the Happy Gilmore show where grandma gets put in a nursing home? Ben Stiller is like the one running the entire show. Happy shows up and he thinks grandma's doing well, and yet Ben Stiller's the one running that nursing home. That's the nursing home right now that I want this coaching staff to go to. Oh, your fingers hurt? Well, guess what? Now your back's going to hurt, because now you just pulled landscaping duty. I have followed this team for so long. When are we ever going to be good? And I think that's the frustrating aspect of it, because when you do this every single day, when Raider Nation shows up every single day, you sit there and you're like, all right, well, there's no way it's going to be worse than 2023. Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels. And Mark is like, 1 second here. What about Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, which, to be honest with you, I think AP and Tom Telesco is the best head coach and GM hirings since Gruden and Mayock. And Gruden and Mayock didn't do a very good job. They couldn't build in the draft, but at least they were winning a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know when, I don't know if, and at this point, I don't know how you have any faith at all in Pete Carroll. I don't know how you have any faith at all in this regime. Let's go to O'Neal. What up, O'Neal? What up, Mitch? Like all of us, I'm tired of the mediocrity. I wish we were mediocre. You know what I mean? Somebody the other day was like, Mitch, do you wish we had Derek Carr back? I do. I wish we were a mediocre team. I wish we were an 8-win team. I wish we were a 9-win team. I wish that this was a team that you could wake up on Sunday and have a little bit of hope for, but there's no way in hell that I'm going to wake up any game day for the rest of the season. I'm going to go, we got a chance today. We don't have a chance. And I don't know how you think that we're going to have a chance, right? The last time I was truly excited about our team was 2016. I don't know if that's fair to say, because, the Raiders did make the playoffs in 2021. I know they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll never forget the Derek Carr timeout up against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. But, I am beyond frustrated. And I'm beyond frustrated because for the last 3 years, it's been the same thing over and over and over again. Let's hire an old head coach that's past his prime. Let's let that old head coach bring in whatever quarterback that he wants. And then no matter what, they're going to bring in their guys. They're going to destroy the locker room. And now here we are. I mean, it's almost like Pete Carroll said, hey, Mark, can you give me that blueprint that Josh McDaniels laid out with the Raiders? That's the one I'm going to follow. Let's go to the next one. Rolling in here on today's show. Gary, someone told me I'm not a real Raider fan because I don't want to buy their merch until a winning season. It's called I'm smartening up. I show up every day. And, I'll put it like this. If you're an adult, you can spend your money on what you want to spend your money on, right? You're spending your money here on a Super Chat. You're spending your money on the Raiders Report. And, some people might say that's stupid. I don't care. I bet you my wife would say it's stupid for me to buy a $4 Celsius every single morning. But you know what? Your boy needs a little bit of a kickstart once in a while. And sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I think as an adult, people spend their money on what they want to spend their money on. But if there's one thing that never should be said is real Raider fan. Because I've covered this team for a long time. If you're a Raider fan, you're a Raider fan, right? Like, I don't know this, there's not a real Raider fan because you don't want to buy their merch. Like, I don't blame you for not wanting to buy their merch. I don't blame people for not wanting to go out to Las Vegas. I don't blame people for not wanting to pay the ridiculous prices of what it is because guess what? All you're doing is that's extra money going into Mark Davis's pocket every single time. And to me, until the product matches, like if the Raiders were like, hey, the tickets are going to be pricier, tickets are going to be cheaper, like all this stuff made sense about the product on field, I'd be okay with it. But right now, it kind of looks like a situation where it's like, I don't really care how bad we are because I'm going to make money anyway. And I think that my fan base is so loyal that they're going to just be loyal. And I don't get it. The you're not a real Raider fan comment to me will never make any sense. Unless you're walking around in a Chiefs tutu, a Broncos brawl, and a Chargers strap-on, I think you're a pretty real Raider fan to me. Let's go to Luke Nugent. Trade Max, get 2 firsts, save his career. I don't give a shit about saving Max Crosby's career. I care about the Las Vegas Raiders. And I love Max. That's my guy. But nobody is above the shield. And, he signed the contract, right? He front-loaded his own deal. He was the highest-paid defensive player in the NFL at the time when that deal got done. He knew where the Raiders were. I don't think he expected them to be this bad. I don't think any of us expected them to be this bad. But why do you feel bad for a guy that's making $38 million this year, $32 million next year, has made more generational wealth than you probably ever will, than I probably ever will? And let's also face the facts of this. Max Crosby will make way more money if he finishes his career with the Las Vegas Raiders. Honestly, Lopez does a lot of stuff for our Saints show. Look at what Alvin Kamara is doing. Alvin Kamara knows that he could be traded. He knows he could be traded, and he knows that he could go play elsewhere. But that little light bulb's going off in Alvin Kamara's head, and he's going, yeah, sure, I'd love to win a Super Bowl. Winning the Super Bowl is really hard to do. But you know what would be really smart for me to do in my career? Finish my career with the New Orleans Saints, and then that entire city will do nothing but love me and support me for the rest of my life. If he wants to do podcasts, if he wants to open up a restaurant, if he wants to open up, I don't know. He could open up anything, and I think it would do well. And it's the exact same thing for Max Crosby. So I'm so sick and tired of, let's save Max Crosby's career. No, let's save the Las Vegas Raiders. If we're going to get 2 first-round picks, let's go get 2 first-round picks for him. I know that we're lost. And I know that we don't have any hope right now, but I do really think that I want the Raiders to do a true rebuild. The problem is the players that you drafted, you're not playing them, right? There's nothing that you're doing makes sense. You're telling me you want to do a rebuild, but yet you're not doing what is necessary for that rebuild. It's like me looking at my wife and being like, hey, we need to save more money so we can buy a home. And then the very next day, I buy a vacation for us to go to. That's what the Raiders are doing over and over and over again. What's up, Alex Perez? Mitch, I'm the only Raider fan in my family. Everyone's a 49er fan. I see them going to games happy, united, and it hurts me. I told my wife it hurts to see this every year, and we're getting worse. I don't know, man. Not good for our health. I say this every game day, and I'm going to keep saying it every game day. I will not let the Raiders ruin my Sunday. I will not let Pete Carroll and this regime ruin my Sunday. And, I'm trying to be like, I don't want them to ruin my days. And, the other day I had a few Raider fans. They were like, Mitch, I wish you would do less Thursday night football. I wish you wouldn't cover, the ALCS game tonight. I wish you wouldn't do Monday Night Football. I only want Raiders content. To all of you out there that say that to me, I want the exact same thing, right? There is nothing that I want more in my life than to be able to show up to work every single day, be a happy Raiders fan, and make very, very fun Raiders content. And you know what's crazy? If the Raiders were winning, I wouldn't have to do all the crazy shit that we always have to do on this show. Now, I'm not saying y'all are casuals, and I'm not saying that at all, man. I'm saying the complete opposite. If you're watching this show on a Monday after that game that we just witnessed, you are the definition of a real one. You are the definition of a real Raider fan. You're the definition of somebody that I know for a fact would go to war for me, and I know for a fact would have my back, give me the shirt off your back, Oakland tailgate style. Like, I totally hear you. But at the exact same time, I want people to watch this show, and I want people to have a smile on their face, because on game days, it's frustrating. There's a lot of emotion, right? It's easy to say I'm not going to get mad, but then you end up getting mad. It's just emotion. It's because you care. But the reason why I want people to watch the Raiders Report is because, if you got to let out a scream today, excuse my language, fuck it. Like, let's let out a scream today. Like, sometimes we just got to do it because it's healthy. And I don't think that the Raiders are a healthy team to watch right now. So whatever you got to do to put your best foot forward, to put your best head on your shoulders, I think is what you got to do. And for me personally, it's being able to vent. It's being able to talk about these situations. It's being able to laugh and put a smile and make light of the fact that this Raiders team is a fucking joke. And it's easy where, you know what? I want to watch a real football team play tonight. I can't wait to watch the Detroit Lions and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play some actual football. Why? I like watching football. I like learning from it. There's nothing that you can learn from that 31-0 game yesterday. I like learning. I also love baseball. I love being able to hang out with my friends. So if you guys want to hang out with me tonight, Game 7 ALCS, if you want to hang out with me tonight for Monday Night Football, I hope you hit that subscribe button, because I feel the exact same way, man. Watching the Raiders is not good for our health. What I do think is good for our health is exactly what we are doing right now, is exactly what we are doing right here. Hanging out, having some fun, putting some smiles out there. Now, if you don't know when I'm going to be live this week, I didn't know exactly what Monday night game I was going to be going live for, so I am live right now. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then I will be live for Thursday Night Football. Here's my question to you out there. Are you more excited for the Monday Night Football games tonight, which are Seahawks-Texans? That's the late game. That's at 9 our time, 10 o'clock Eastern. It's super, super late. I won't be live for that game. I will be live for Lions and Buccaneers. Or are you more excited for Game 7, ALCS, Seattle Mariners, Blue Jays? Winner will go up against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I want you to type 1 for football, 2 for baseball. 1 for Monday night, 2 for baseball. Let me know what you're more excited about. Let's go to Cast Joey. No one firing Pete. We need some continuity now. I do think we need talent. That's a glaring obvious take. After this year, Patrick Graham needs to be let go. Chip gets 1 more year. Pete gets his 3 years. I agree with you that nobody's firing Pete, and I don't think Pete Carroll is going anywhere. We definitely need a lot more continuity. That is very, very clear, and I think we need continuity in every aspect, every phase of the football field. We do need talent, and when you look at this team from a talent standpoint on paper, I think on paper we are also one of the worst teams in the National Football League, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I think the other problem, though, saying that we do need talent, we do need talent. But we also had 11 draft picks, and we also were, top 3 in the NFL, top 2, I want to say, in salary cap space. Now, again, maybe the plan was truly to rebuild. And I know I found myself all offseason saying the Raiders' plan is very clear in the Max Crosby contract. They're trying to be good now, great next season, Super Bowl caliber in 2027. To me, that's what their plan is all along. And if Pete and the Raiders were to come out and say, hey, that's what we're doing. We're rebuilding. We know we're not going to win anything this season. That's the plan. The problem is Pete said he's going to win. Now, you're probably going to hit me with, well, Mitch, what do you expect them to say? They should say they're expecting to win. I agree. But if you were saying we need more talent and we're going rebuild, shouldn't you play your younger players? Like, why the flip is Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues a healthy scratch yet again? Like, if Caleb Rogers, I get it, he might not be ready, but I would at least like to see him at least be a healthy active. Like, I don't want to see Alex Kappa, right? If you're going to bench JPJ for whatever vendetta you have against him, I'd rather you put in Caleb Rogers, put in a younger offensive lineman. Like, I know what Alex Kappa is at this point. What you were doing or not matching the actions that you have. PG, again, like, I think that Patrick Graham is a good coach. I think, unfortunately, Patrick Graham is being forced to play a defense that he doesn't really like to play, and he's being forced to play a defense that it's really important and predicated on him having a defensive tackle like a Christian Wilkins. Unfortunately, the Raiders can't get any pressure. Now Max Crosby is injured. I do think that Chip Kelly ends up getting one more year, and I do think that Pete Carroll probably, I don't know if he gets 3. He'll definitely get 2. We'll see what that third-year option is looking like, but I think the 2 biggest issues right now are Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll. And those are the 2 guys that we're sitting up here going, I don't think it matters. I think they're going to get another chance. And, it's like, yes, it's a talent issue, but it's also when you turn on the film, when you watch this team play, we are very outdated. Like, our coaching staff is working in the Jurassic period when, it's 2025, fellas. It's time to get with the times. Let's go to Caleb Tarr. Now, again, like Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll probably watch film on a newspaper. There's something called the internet. You can get it. Thoughts, Mike McDaniel in Vegas if he gets the boot in Miami, maybe as a play caller. 100% doubt we fire Pete. Also, I think we only have 6 good players. I doubt that we fire Pete. I would be okay with the idea of Mike McDaniel as an OC because I think Mike McDaniel is the ultimate proof that you can be a good play caller. Doesn't mean that you're going to be a good head coach. And I do think that McDaniel has shown that he can scheme up and would be solid. The problem is, though, is like, what do you pay Mike McDaniel? Because you already paid Chip Kelly Chip Kelly is the highest paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League. Like, they're not just going to give up on somebody like that. I do wonder, could Chip be the reason why he's like, I don't want to do this anymore? But also at the same time, if you're Chip Kelly, you're looking at a 74-year-old Pete Carroll, and it's really bad for him right now. If I'm Chip, I'm sitting here going, if I just hang around, I might be able to get a head coaching job. So, like, would I have more confidence in Mike McDaniel? Yeah, probably I would. But I think the one thing that Chip's got to do, I actually think Chip Kelly's got to look at Pete Carroll and he's got to say, hey, Pete, at this point, like, I think it's just Kenny Pickett time, and I think it's just because you have to try to do something else because Geno clearly doesn't trust himself. I mean, even in opportunities where Geno could run. Geno had a chance yesterday to run for a first down, and instead of doing that, he just gave up on the play and he fell down. Like, if Geno don't got any heart, and you could just tell Geno's not a good leader right now. He's moping around. He's bitching and moaning. You could tell he's just not happy. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't be happy either. But at the same time, you gave him that extension. You traded for him. It's a shit show from absolute top to bottom. Let's go to the next Super Chat coming in. A reminder, if you want to get featured on our show, Super Chat to vent the deals on today's episode. If you Super Chat, you're going to get in our duck race. I don't know why Venmo isn't working. AWS is down right now. So if you send in a Super Chat today of any value, if you win that duck race, because what we're doing is, so to the Super Chats that are in, right? Like anybody that has sent one in, your name's going to go in the duck race. If you win, you get 100 raffle tickets. If you're like, Mitch, hey, I just want no matter what, one ticket, $5 you're entered in. Every $20 Super Chat, I'm just going to scream for you because I know that there's a lot of people out there that need to scream. So every 20 you see is going to be a scream. If you send in a hundo, it is a bang, and you're going to get 50 raffle tickets. Let's go to Esco75. Mitch, we appreciate you. What's worse, watching our team play or watching teams who do it right play? I'll say us, and I only say us because I can't wait to watch good football tonight. But I also look at a team like the Chicago Bears. I look at a team like the New England Patriots. We wanted Ben Johnson. We wanted Mike Vrabel. And you look at those two teams right now, it's like you can be a really bad football team, but when you get the right head coach and when you get the right pieces around, especially you get the right quarterback, it can change everything so quickly. The Commanders changed quickly. The New England Patriots changed quickly. The Chicago Bears have changed quickly. I just like I look at this Raiders situation, and again, like, we are not getting better in any way. We are only getting worse, and that's the problem. Like, if you would have told me, all right, Mitch, we're 2-5, but at week 7 of the NFL season, oh, we're at least like getting better. Like if this would have been week 1, and then we're at least moving in the right direction. Does anybody think though that we're actually moving in the right direction? Like that's why I'm like it concerns me more. I think we are getting worse and worse and worse every single week, and I don't know how it's possible. Mark hires big names, no substance. We need to hire an up-and-coming no-name coach, preferably from the Andy Reid tree. I've been saying from the Reid tree, from the Sean McVay tree, more. I mean, I've really been saying from the Sean McVay tree, but I agree with you. You need a young, innovative head coach that is up to date with the times, and you need him to be able to go out and get his quarterback. That's what I think good organizations are doing right now, and I think good organizations that have a plan, we need a plan, because whatever plan the Raiders came up with, they're not doing it. Like, they literally set a plan out, and they're doing exactly, I think, what they wanted to do in that plan, and that's really hard to be able to wrap your mind around, quite frankly. It's hard to believe that people get paid to do a job as bad as what the Raiders are doing right now. And it's either the players that you brought in are bad, which is your fault because you brought them in, or B, the players aren't getting any better because the coaching staff doesn't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know how you don't say it's either one of those two options. What's up, Mix Master Mike? A lot of M's. I was at the game. I apologize. Seats were behind the Raiders bench. I saw Roberts and Adams were laughing and smiling when down by 31 points. Unserious team. If you had like pictures of that, I would love to be able to put that out on social media. I'll do a little bit of digging myself, but at the exact same time, that's heartbreaking, right? But I think also what you have right now is a bunch of Raiders veterans that kind of look like I don't really give a shit about how I play what I do because I'm on a one-year deal anyway, and I'm probably going to be in a new home next season, right? Like the Landon Roberts, Jamal Adams, I know Adams is a Pete guy, and I know he cares about what he's doing with the Raiders and his resurgence with Pete Carroll. But I saw a lot of guys that kind of looked like it didn't even matter, and maybe that's a bigger problem. Because if you're down 31-0 in the NFL, that should be like a holy shit, something's going on here. Like, we got to change something. And with the Raiders and Pete Carroll, it's almost like they expect it, And when you expect to be that bad, that's concerning to me. Because this isn't the only game where we've just looked completely lost. The Chargers game, completely lost. The Commanders game, completely lost. You played a good game against the Bears. The problem was, though, your quarterback threw 3 interceptions. Then, week 5 against Indy. Completely lost. I'll say this, week 6 against the Titans, I thought you were completely lost. But luckily, you played a team even more lost than you, so you found a way to win. And then you go up against Kansas City, completely lost. Let's go to 2-0-9 Raider. Gut the team, start from the ground up, horrible game. I love my Raiders, but have to put them on a timeout at a certain time of the season, which means no buying gear and not watching games. Again, man, like I hope that you don't give up on me. I hope that if you're like, you know what, dude, I'm not watching the Raiders. Don't watch the Raiders. Watch the Raiders report, because I think by second quarter yesterday, we were just trying every way possible to just laugh. Like, I don't even know if I talked about the game. Like, I actually forgot a lot about the game until I woke up this morning and I started watching it before my Monday overreaction video, watching it over and over and over again. But I agree with you. Like, I think that this is a team that you got to gut. This is a team that you have to actually do a true rebuild. And, when I think about players that could be dealt, like, to me, I think Jacoby Myers, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Dylan Parham, Tyree Wilson, Max Crosby. I mean, these are all going to be names that you have to at least consider moving on from. And I'm not saying that I would trade JPJ, but I'll tell you this right now. If you don't think that JPJ has a chance of getting traded after watching that game yesterday about, they benched him, very, very weird. They clearly have a vendetta against him. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more here on the video that I'm going to do in a little bit. But, like, to me, here were the 6 players, if you were to ask me, who do we get rid of and how are we going to start gutting this team and moving forward? Now, I don't want the Raiders to trade away JPJ. I want to be very clear on that. I don't even really want the Raiders to trade away Crosby or Jacoby Myers. But if you were to ask me, what players do I think are the players that I would put on the trade block if I was doing a true rebuild, whereas you say gut the team, these are probably going to be the 6 players that they look to do. Though the only one I would not trade is JPJ. Like I don't know why the Raiders are doing what they're doing with JPJ, and it's just really frustrating because they're going to ruin a good player. Or he's the type of guy that he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to be a Pro Bowler. Like he's going to go somewhere else. He's going to be a Pro Bowler if the Raiders don't figure it out. What up, Suicide Guns? Sadly, right now, we'd have trouble scoring on an XFL team. We are definitely top 2 worst teams in the NFL. I'm with you, you know. Like, I honestly wonder if you were to put the Raiders, and I think that they would. Y for yes and for no. If the Las Vegas Raiders, okay, played in the SEC, would they go undefeated? The answer should be yes, because every single player on the Raiders is an NFL caliber player, where you cannot say that with the SEC. And I'll also say this, that one of my biggest arguments that I hate is, that college team could beat that NFL team. My point is this, I still think that the Raiders go undefeated in SEC action. I still think that the Raiders go undefeated if they played in college football because, again, they have professional players. But at the exact same time, I wouldn't bet my life on it. Like, I don't know if, like, I expected it would, but I don't know if they would 100%. And, you know, you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. You put the Kansas City Chiefs up against any college team. Do they do exactly what they just did to the Raiders? You know, like, I would actually love to know if Andy Reid in Kansas City went up against, you pick any team in the country, any college football team in the country, and that team plays the Chiefs. And you ask them, who's better, that team or the Raiders? I don't know. I don't know, man. We're that bad. We're so bad that I don't know if we would beat every college team, and that's a problem. Champion Chuck, elite name Champion Chuck. Is there a way that John Gruden can be back as the head coach if Pete was to be cut at the end of the season? I don't see how. I don't see why. I know people are falling in love with Gruden, and I know Gruden is very well liked on TV, but, like, if you're the Raiders, you have to build through the draft, right? Like, and that's how I'm going to end this argument, where I'm not going to sit up here and say Gruden. I think Gruden is a better head coach than Pete Carroll at this point, probably. I think Gruden, did a good job at times, and we were moving in the right direction. I believe we were 5-2 when the whole Henry Ruggs situation happened. But I think a problem that a lot of Raider fans have is, like, just because he was the coach at one time, like, why do we have to bring up Jack Del Rio? Why do we have to bring up John Gruden? Like, there's so many other guys that I think would do a much, much better job than those names. Like, I have no interest in John Gruden because I don't believe in his ability to draft. And if you're the silver and black and you're going to talk about a full-on regut and you're going to talk on, a full-on rebuild, like, you're just going to let him do exactly what he did before and gut the team, trade away your best defensive player in Crosby, like he did Khalil Mack, and get absolutely nothing to show for it. Like, I want the Raiders to do something different. The Raiders have just done the same thing every single year. They're going to go out and get the biggest name head coach that they can find. They're going to give him way too much money. They're going to give him all the power. And then win or lose, it doesn't flip and matter. I'm done with that. I want a young, innovative head coach that can get his new opportunity to do something different. I do not want John Gruden. Let's go to Caleb Tarr. Sick of defensive head coaches. I'm sick of defensive head coaches that bring in their own quarterback. I'm sick of guys that at one time in their life won, right? Like, I think right now what's going on, and I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I think that you could make an argument that Pete Carroll and what he's doing to the Raiders is equally as bad as what Bill Belichick is doing to the North Carolina, North Carolina program. I get that Bill Belichick at one time was the greatest head coach in the NFL. You might be able to debate it because everywhere he's gone, everywhere he hasn't had Tom Brady, he hasn't won, right? But I think at the same time, just because you were good at one point, just because you were good 10 years ago, just because you were good 20 years ago, doesn't mean that you're going to be good really now, right? Like, the game changes, time changes, right? Like, Pete Carroll is an amazing human being. 74 years old, though. Like, just things change. And the Raiders, to me, look like a team that is afraid of change from the top down. Let's go to Jonathan. What's up, brother? Literally feels like I waste thousands of dollars every year going to the games and traveling just to get my hopes and dreams for this team crushed every damn time the season is officially over. And I don't blame Raider fans for feeling this way. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be able to do watch parties is because I knew how expensive it was to be able to go to games and everything that it takes, time, money, it is, man. It's precious, precious time. And then when you go to that game and you feel those feelings, I mean, it's just, you sit back and you're like, why the hell did I do that? Now, if you got the money, go do it. But if you're a frustrated Raiders fan, stay frustrated with us, right? You know what I mean? Like, pull up here. Let's get a little bit wild and crazy. Let's talk about the team. Let's vent our frustrations together. But I think, like, that's how we have to do this, man. But I tell you this, I wouldn't go to a Raiders game. You couldn't pay me to go to a Raiders game coached by Pete Carroll right now. Couldn't pay me to do it. You couldn't pay me to go. Like, if Mark Davis said, hey, Mitch, how much does it cost for you to go to a Raiders game right now with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith? He better hand me a blank check. He better hand me a blank check. Let's go to Carl. You're next up here on the show. What's up, Carl? Ah! Chip just like, what the? I really hope after the bye week, we at least make a switch to AOC. It really can't be any worse at quarterback. I am hopeful that something has changed. I'm just glad you're always here to give us information. Thanks, Mitch. All right, here's my question to you. If you could start any quarterback this upcoming week for the Raiders, week 9, Jacksonville, Geno, AOC, Kenny Pickett, who would you pick down below? We'll give some shout-outs here on the show. And I'll keep saying this because this is my honest opinion. At this point, I don't care. We could put Aiden O'Connell out there. Now, he's still on IR, right? So for the Raiders, they have to activate him off of the IR, and then he will have a 3-week window, 21 days, to get back out there on the field. The problem is, though, the Raiders traded for Kenny Pickett. And I actually think that they overpaid a little bit by giving up what they did to go out and get him for a 5th-round pick. Now, the Raiders still have that 5th-round comp, so they're still going to have that 5th-rounder. But in my honest opinion, I think what would have to happen for Aiden O'Connell to see the field is this. Geno Smith gets benched. Kenny Pickett goes out there on the field. Kenny Pickett gets injured. Geno goes back in. Geno gets benched. Aiden O'Connell gets a chance. Like, I don't think that it is as easy as the Raiders bench Geno Smith and now it's Aiden O'Connell time. It's not. It's going to be Kenny Pickett time. And, I know how bad Geno Smith has looked. But then there's that other little birdie in the back of my mind, and I spoke about this on the Raiders Report a few weeks ago, not a few weeks ago, probably literally like last week, 2 weeks ago, and I said, does nobody else remember how bad Aiden O'Connell looked in the preseason? And I'm not saying that from like an Aiden O'Connell standpoint. I'm saying like this Raiders offense looks like the worst Raiders offense that I've seen in a long time. I mean, Chip Kelly and this Raiders offense is worse than Luke Getsy. Numbers prove it. Is worse than Josh McDaniels, Mick Lombardi, Bo Hardegree, whatever other random Raiders OC you want to throw into the mix there. I mean, this is the worst Raiders offense in the last 3 to 4 years, and when you look at how much money they invested, it's kind of surprising. But at the same time, Aiden O'Connell, I'll also say I thought looked the worst that Aiden O'Connell has ever looked in the preseason. And that's not a knock on Aiden. I almost think it's another knock on, like, Aiden was really bad in the preseason, and he's never looked worse, in my opinion. You go back, you watch those preseason tape. I don't know if Aiden O'Connell has ever looked worse or more uncomfortable in an offensive system than the Chip Kelly system in the preseason. And I think it's just another example of there hasn't been a single player on this team not named Trey Tucker that I think has made an improvement. There's not a single guy that I think has made improvement. I do want to give some flowers to DJ Glaze. He's gotten better and better as the season has gone on. You can't really dispute that. He absolutely, positively has. Can I get some other names, though? Can I get some other names? Because they're not popping up. Caleb Tarr, dreading Thursday night football versus the Broncos. Why? I mean, shit, dude, I can't wait. At this point, I can't wait for this season to be over with. And I hate saying it because Raiders off seasons are just, they're a lot more entertaining to me. Raiders off seasons are a lot more fun. Why? Because you can have hope. And if you don't have hope, you're definitely not a Raiders fan. Like, if you don't have hope, I don't know why you're even watching the show or rooting for this team. But, like, if you have hope, that is enough to get you up every single morning. And in the offseason, as soon as the Super Bowl ends, I feel like I have hope again. So, you know what? I can't wait for Thursday night football because that means I'm one step closer to watching this nightmare be over. Let's go to Rich Wolf. Even if we trade Jacoby, Max, JPJ, I have no confidence in Pete leading us in the right direction currently. And when he is done with Pete, Biden truly. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Like, I don't have any confidence in what Pete Carroll's doing right now. I don't have any confidence in anything that this coaching staff is doing. And that's kind of the other hard, predicament that we're in, where we're like, all right, let's do this rebuild. Let's get all these draft picks. I mean, we had 11 draft picks last year. You know what I mean? Like, we traded back the amount of times that we did to be able to accumulate more draft picks. And I don't know what the Raiders' game plan is, because, like you said, we could trade all those players, but do you trust them to be able to develop your guys? I don't do it. I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. I hate coming up on this show and not knowing what to say, but I don't know what the Raiders need to do. What I want them to do, honestly, is I think somebody deserves to be fired. Legitimately, I think that there is a Raiders coach that deserves to be fired. I don't know who that coach is going to be. I don't know who they want to make the guinea pig, but after a 31-0 game, for you to go in your bye week and make no changes at all, shame on you. Shame on you. What up, Xavier? They need to fire Pete's son. I don't have any problem with Pete's son right now, unless it came out that Brennan Carroll is the reason that Jackson Powers-Johnson got benched. And here's the thing. JPJ didn't play well, right? JPJ did not play well that past game. But at the same time, how can you defend Geno Smith and say, oh, well, Geno, we couldn't really get it going. We didn't throw the ball enough. But, you defend Geno because the Raiders didn't have enough plays. But in the same light, you bench Jackson Powers-Johnson for what reason? And then you put in Alex Kappa, a guy that we already know has got no future. I'm not really going to gripe with Brennan Carroll right now, because I actually think that the offensive line has done a good job. You lost Colton Miller. The offensive line has not been the problem for the Raiders. It hasn't been great, but I also don't think that they've gotten worse. Like, I actually think the offensive line has shown some improvement since the very beginning of the season. I got a way, way bigger problem with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly than I do anybody else on this roster. Let's go to James. What's up, dude? I would just like to know who is evaluating the talent on this team, because I feel like I could do a better job. I could do a better job, James. I think you could do a better job. If you think that you could do a better job evaluating the talent on the Raiders roster, hit that like button and comment me down below. Let's see it, because I know you're not the only one. And I think it is an asinine thing to say that I could coach this team better, because I don't think that I could coach this team better. And I really don't think that I know X's and O's even close to Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll. I don't. And I'm not going to sit up here and act like I do. But the key word you use here is evaluating. And I think that I can evaluate the players on the Raiders better than our current staff, because I actually think that I know the players better on this team. And it's from the years of doing this show, right? Like, we're in week 7, and we're still rolling out Isaiah Paul-Lamau as a free safety. Could have told you that was going to be an absolute disaster from the jump, right? Like, Kai Blue Kelly, disaster. Devin White, Landon Roberts have been a disaster. You're always going to have right calls. You're always going to have wrong calls. But the fact that we're still sitting here doing the things that are clearly wrong, and we're just doing them every week and not expecting a different result, that's where the evaluation process concerns me. And the preparation concerns me. Because the only game where the Raiders look good, they had a long time to prepare. And maybe, that first week 1 game was a little bit strange. But when the Raiders have had 1 week to prepare, which you go from week 2 to right now where we are. When you've had a week to prepare, the Raiders have not been prepared. I mean, they have not shown up in a game where you're like, that's a team that I'm proud of. Maybe the Chicago Bears game, but outside of that, you haven't been proud of the Raiders at all this season. Let's go to Will Duncan. Even when they beat the Titans, nobody was proud because it was a shitty win. First time in my life, I just don't care to watch. It's such a pathetic display of football. I watched yesterday until my Rashee Rice 2 touchdowns hit, and then went about my day. And I mean, I don't know if you're talking about Prize Picks, but if you are a Raiders fan and you're planning on watching the team, get a Prize Picks lineup in. And if you're like, you know what, man, I'm watching this team, and win or lose, put everything up more against the Raiders right now. For Jacksonville in that Week 9 game, I don't know what Trevor Lawrence's passing yards are going to be. I'm going to go more. I don't know what Travis Etienne anything's going to be. I'm going to go more. I don't know what Geno Smith interceptions is going to be. Probably going to go more, right? At this point, if the Raiders are going to be this bad, I might as well try to make a little bit of money out of it. And, when you're watching shows like this, I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody for not wanting to watch that game. Again, like, I didn't even really watch the game. Second half on, I don't really remember anything. Kel, I can't believe it, but we were more competitive every week with Gruden. We were more competitive every week with Josh McDaniels. You know, like, people joked. I mean, at least McDaniels blew a second half lead, right? Like, at least we scored points in the first half for there to be a second half blown lead. We're not doing anything for 4 quarters right now. Like, we were a more competitive team with Josh McDaniels. We were a more competitive team with Antonio Pierce. And it's mind-blowing to me because, again, I think Pete Carroll got everything he asked for this offseason. So when you get everything that you asked for and we are not only bad, but this bad, that's a concern, Kel. That's a concern, Kel. Let's go to NY. What up, NY? Again, to the 1,000 people here in the building right now. I greatly appreciate everybody getting your questions in, everybody getting your comments in. We have a lot. And I know that there was a lot of questions and comments to get to, and we are doing our best here to be able to work through each and every one. And I'm literally going in order, where sometimes, like, we'll skip super chats if it's a big one. Like, the only way you're going to get to the front of the line is if you bang. You send in a bang, we will get you to the very front of the line. But if not, we're just going to go through all of the super chats in order. I'm going to answer them in the order that we're going. I love these types of shows because, again, I know I'm not the only one frustrated. I want y'all to have your opportunity to vent. And quite frankly, I'm having a good time screaming and hooting and hollering. If you don't know our deals on today's show, it's this. Super chat to vent. Let's talk about it. Every $5 super chat you send in, you got a chance to win a signed Raiders jersey. And the jersey that we're giving away is a mystery jersey. All I know is it's one of these 6. So Tim Brown, Max Crosby, Ken Stabler, Charles Woodson, Jack Tatum, Bo Jackson. As my grandmother says, there's not a clunker in the bunch, meaning that every single one of these signed jerseys is an elite signed jersey to win. If you send in a super chat today, you have an opportunity to get 100 raffle tickets for a chance to win one of those signed jerseys. I don't know why Venmo's not working. AWS, who owns Venmo, is not working. So, like, that's kind of why everything's happening. So, no Duck Race Venmo today. Duck Race today is if you send in a super, whatever your name is, I'm putting you in. If you need to scream, I'll do it for you. $20 super chat. Give me your question. We'll yell it out. $100 to skip the line for a bang and 50 raffle tickets. Let's go to NYNTY5. Mitch, I am one of your first donors. Ever look it up. 95. Please ask why we let the Chiefs take Al's speed and size drafting. We won't be faithful. I mean, I believe you if you're telling me you're one of my very first donors. I can look it up, which is always pretty great. Like, I can go back and I can look at the first 5 people that subscribe, first 1,000 people that subscribe, right? It's probably one of the cooler features that YouTube has. In terms of everything else you're talking about, I'm not 100%. I think Raider Nation's always going to be faithful. And I think that's almost to the problem. Like, it's almost to our own detriment, where I am never going to give up on Raider Nation. I'm never going to give up on y'all. And we keep joking, like, when the Raiders are finally good, man, we're going to be able to sit back and look at this and laugh, right? Hopefully. JB, take the 1 or 2 pick. Let's see what happens next year. All coaches have had bad first years. The closest to winning it all was Gruden. We need consistency. We definitely need consistency. No doubt about it. We need consistency. And I think we just need, to know that we're heading in the right direction. And, you look at a team like Dan Campbell. The Dan Campbell-led Lions, I want to say, won like 3 games in his first year, and then they were able to kind of get it back on track. The Raiders right now, and like that's kind of like the glass half full mentality is going like, well, this was a really bad football roster from top to bottom, and if you're telling me that the plan all along was for them to, kind of rip it down, strip it down, and then going to rebuild it, well, you're doing a phenomenal job of it. Little sarcasm in there. We'll have to see. We're going to have to wait and see, man. But we're not close to winning, and that's a problem to me. We're not close to winning. Let's go to Drew. Was at the Chargers game and the Chiefs game yesterday, and my God, there are no words other than just bad football. Hoping someone, some way, the Raiders turn it around someday. I'm not going to say fire what you got down there because I know it's not going to happen, but I am very serious when I say this. Geno Smith deserves to be benched. Pete Carroll deserves to be fired. Chip Kelly deserves to be fired. I don't think it's going to happen, and I do think that some consistency needs to be able to get set in place here, but you also want to be able to see that your team, again, is moving in the right direction. Like, if Geno Smith was getting better and the Chip Kelly offense was showing growth, I would go, okay, we're going in that right direction. But we're not. We are actually getting worse. Every single week, the Raiders offense finds the way to get worse. The Raiders defense finds a way to get worse. So I don't know what to think. I wouldn't mind if they benched Geno Smith. I wouldn't give a shit if they fired Pete Carroll or Chip Kelly. I literally wouldn't care. I would be live here. Quite frankly, I probably would celebrate it. Give me something to celebrate. Anthony, this franchise is pathetic. Stop putting liquid bandage on deep wounds. I feel like Pete was hired because nobody else wants to coach this shit show team. Can we find someone competent enough? I think the way that you find somebody competent enough is you have a high draft pick. Looks like the Raiders are going to have a high draft pick this season. And you say, hey, like, we're going to go let you draft your quarterback. And what's going to be really interesting this offseason is if, obviously if Geno's still here, if Pete's still here, I don't know if they draft a quarterback, right? Like, what exactly are they going to do? But this team is pathetic, and there's no other way to say it. This is a very, very pathetic team that keeps trying to fix its deep wounds with liquid bandage, with old head coaches, over and over and over again. What up, BA? Where we went wrong was not giving Rich Bisaccia the head coach position. He had the support of the entire locker room and knew football. I don't totally disagree with what you're saying here, and it's always going to be one of the what-ifs, but you're right. Rich Bisaccia had that entire football team. They loved him. They would have done anything they possibly could have done for him, and I think the Raiders hiring Antonio Pierce was their it was their way of like finding out if the Bisaccia hire would have worked, and Bisaccia and Pierce are two very, very different people from top to bottom, but also, you go look at the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers, to me, are an interesting team because they're taking old throwaways by the Raiders, and they're turning them into great players. Keyshawn Nixon is unbelievable right now. Like Josh Jacobs, I know he's banged up, but he's been playing great football with the Packers. Look at a guy like Rasul Douglas. He ended up going over there to Green Bay. I don't have a great answer for you, and I don't know if Rich Bisaccia, like now looking at it, going, sure. If that's what you want to say, what went wrong was not giving Rich Bisaccia the head coaching position. I think also what has gone wrong for the Raiders is you got Josh McDaniels players, John Gruden players, Bisaccia players, Antonio Pierce players, Tom Telesco players, Pete Carroll guys now, Spy Tech guys. You got all these players trying to play on one football team, and nobody knows what we're doing. We're getting blown out because we look like we're a bunch of chickens with our heads cut off. What up, OG? Since Mark loves to waste money on head coaches, he should have paid Ben or Vrabel more than what they've offered. Look how May is looking. I mean, here's the problem, though. Drake May is a really good quarterback. And I know some people got mad at me, but I did. I said Drake May was better than Jaden Daniels, and I said Drake May was better than Caleb Williams. Now, that was me during the pre-draft process. Again, I really, really like Drake May. I didn't expect him to be able to get it turned around as quickly as he has in New England, but this was not a money thing in terms of Ben and Vrabel. This was Vrabel wanted to go to New England. Ben Johnson wanted the competent quarterback, and he wanted to go to the Chicago Bears. So, you could have thrown out $20 million, made him the highest head coach in the NFL. But for Mark, he didn't want to do that because of all the other money he was investing in all of his other head coaches, right? Like from John Gruden to Josh McDaniels to Antonio Pierce. I mean, he's paying right now 6 GM and head coaches that aren't on the team. That's a tough pill to swallow. What's up, Tim? What makes me so mad, other than the coaches, is seeing other players starting for other teams. I mean, you can go up and down the list of how many other guys are on other teams succeeding. Like, I think the perfect example this season is right now, like the perfect example, look at Divine Diablo. Divine Diablo right now in the Atlanta Falcons looks like one of the best linebackers in the NFL. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's flying all over the football field. He's going to be a Pro Bowler. He's going to be a Pro Bowler this year, I'm telling you. He's been that good. And it's not just a one-time thing. It's a bunch. Also, Pete Carroll just said that Brock Jacoby should be good to go after the bye week. Which, I'll say this, I don't think Jacoby Myers ever plays again for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I do think that Brock Bowers will be good to go week 9. So, we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to the next one rolling in here today on the Raiders Report. Now, again, I told all of y'all that we would do a segment, and once all the Super Chats, we run through them, that's when we will get to the very first segment on today's show, which is going to be me kind of illustrating the 5 dumbest moves that Pete Carroll did yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to give DJ Glaze one more year at right tackle. Agree? Yes. The only way that I would say no to that is if you're staring there at like an Armin Membu type of offensive tackle prospect where you know that that guy can really, truly be a totally different, big difference maker. But DJ Glaze has gotten better, and I agree. I would like to see him get another year at right tackle. So it just depends who we're looking at in the draft. I mean, right now, though, like, you know, we'll see what happens with Colton Miller. Charles Grant's been getting some work, but you got to give DJ Glaze his credit. He has done better. What up, Sanchez? Say what you want about Gruden, but at least he cared about the fan base and commitment to excellence. Everyone else now is just collecting a check. I'm so sick and tired of living in the past. And I think, like, the reason why the Raiders are a bad football team is because Mark Davis lives in the past. I think right now one of the problems with a lot of Raiders fans is we live in the past. Like, I try to give John Gruden his flowers. I try to give John Gruden his kudos. But also, at the same time, the amount that his name gets brought up on this show it's mind-blowing to me. You know, it's mind-blowing to me. I get that he was probably our best head coach out of the group that we hired recently, but that's still not saying a lot. So I'll give him his credit. He was entertaining. I love watching him on Hard Knocks. He fired me up. I mean, we went from the Chucky heads to the Just Win babies. I would love to be able to bring back the Chucky heads, quite frankly. Let's go to Brian Folsom. What's up, Brian? Mitch, love the show. Continue with base coverage. You know, every single Monday, I'm going to be here. Every single Tuesday, I'm going to be here. Every Thursday, every day, you hit that subscribe button, you're going to get a video from the Raiders Report. That I guarantee you. Pete Carroll on the team after 7 games. I'm surprised we are not further along. Also, Pete Carroll said that Isaiah Palomalu sustained an ankle injury, and we don't know the severity of the injury moving forward. So that'll be one to watch. Pedro, Mitch, I'm a ride or die Raider fan, but in all my time as a fan, I have not given up on a season so early as this season. Pedro, you're not the only one, right? Like, I look at a lot of our YouTube analytics, and it's one of the things that I can look at on the back end. I'm telling you this. I have never seen Raider Nation give up on a season as quickly as what they already have. The numbers on my YouTube prove it. People aren't watching as much. People aren't sharing as much. People just aren't looking for Raiders content nearly as much. And I know it's difficult, and I don't blame people for not wanting to watch the Raiders, but when you've seen the product that's on the field, there's a reason why people are giving up, and it's because it is truly, truly that bad. Bobby Simpson, what's up, brother? Spill the beans, Mitch. What is JPJ that went to HR on Christian Wilkins? Tell us the truth. I have no idea, dude. You know, like, I wish that I knew some things that I was told. And again, like, when we go back to the Christian Wilkins story, I mean, that's so long ago, right? Like, so long ago. But that situation was a weird one. And Chugs and I kind of joked that, like, I did wonder if JPJ was the guy in terms of Wilkins, because I did hear, you know, some things about players kind of ruffling JPJ's feathers and, you know, JPJ not getting along with some of the guys in the locker room because some guys were mad that JPJ was, like, literally just trying to do everything Max Crosby was doing, which I'll say this. If you're a Raiders player and you're getting mad at JPJ doing everything Crosby's doing, I think you should look at yourself in the mirror, and I respect that Jackson Powers Johnson was trying to resemble the most successful player we have on our organization, and I think more guys should try to do it. But, I mean, I tell you guys what I hear. You know, it's like, that's the God honest truth. I tell you guys exactly what I hear. I'm not afraid to tell you something that people tell. Like, if a guy tells me don't tell people that, it depends who tells me it and, like, what I'm told. But for the most part, if I hear something and I find it interesting and I'm like, Raider Nation would want to know about that, I'm going to tell you. And when I started poking around with the whole Wilkins thing, it was amazing how just nothing, there was nothing. I was getting left on red. I was getting left on seen. People who always text me back were not texting me back. I mean, it was like voodoo. It was like Voldemort and Harry Potter. You just, like, don't mention it. And when I hear stuff like that, or lack thereof, I do think that there is something else going on. But at the exact same time, I don't think I think that the coaching staff has something against Jackson Powers Johnson. And I don't know what it is, because It's not just a one-time thing. It is so many different situations that this coaching staff has shown you that they have something against JPJ. I mean, I don't even remember the quote, but Chip Kelly a few weeks ago was literally like, oh, yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson's head's so big he can't get in through the door. Something about, like, I don't know why you fans are, like, doing that to him. Like, again, I don't remember the exact quote, but Chip Kelly literally said that at a press conference. Like, for you to single-handedly call out a player in that negative a direction, I think it shows, again, a little bit of the what's going on behind the scenes. And behind the scenes is there's a lot of players that don't like Chip Kelly, I promise you. What up, Roy Rader? When is Tom Brady going to get blamed for these decisions? Chances we trade JPJ Mostert and Jacoby Myers. I mean, chances the Raiders trade Jacoby Myers is 99.9%. He's gone, guys. He's gone. He will never play another snap for the Raiders. In terms of JPJ, I would say probably 30% chance that he gets dealt. For Raheem Mostert, I'd probably go with like 5% chance that he ends up getting dealt. 30% might be a little high. Let's go 20% for JPJ. And again, like that might not seem like a high number, but to me, 20% chance of you being traded, second-year guy, our second-best offensive lineman, that's a high percentage, I would say, for JPJ. Let's go to JC. What's up, JC? A rebuild with new coaches. Get young college coach who's ready. I want to go back to when teams, if you're not cheating against the Raiders, you're not winning. To be honest, fire Chip. I mean, we were talking about guys deserving to get fired, blah, blah, blah. I think the person that does deserve to get fired the most, like somebody said, oh, fire Brennan Carroll. My God-honest opinion is if the Raiders were to fire a head coach, the person that is the most deserving to get fired, it's Chip Kelly, and it's not close. You were the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. Our quarterback has never looked worse. Our offense has never looked worse. The plays are so collegey and gimmicky, it's disgusting. And how the hell does Ashton Genty only have 6 carries? You know what I mean? Like, and people could say, oh, Mitch, the game got out of the hand. Okay. Wait until I show you what I'm going to show you on the Raiders report today, and you're going to be like, wow, yeah, they probably should have ran the ball with Ashton Genty a little bit more. Probably should have ran the ball. What's up, Guts? Why won't Patrick Graham bench Kai Blue Kelly for Porter? Because I don't think it's a Patrick Graham decision. And when you watch this entire Raiders defense, it's not a Patrick Graham defense. It's not. Like Wild One was saying it yesterday, and I agreed with him, where the Patrick Graham defense, it's not Patrick Graham's defense. It's the Pete Carroll defense that Patrick Graham is running. And you can tell that PG's not comfortable in it. But why? I don't have the answer why. I mean, if Kai Blue Kelly was playing well, I would sit up here and go, all right, well, he's playing well, so we're not playing the guy that we drafted in the 3rd round, Darian Porter. The problem is, I don't know if there was a worse starting corner in the National Football League, and what's crazy is Pete Carroll literally defended him. It was like, oh, yeah, I think Kai Blue Kelly's doing a great job. Like, how? How do you think that, Pete? Are you not watching the game? Because if you are watching the game and you think he's playing well, then you're definitely not qualified to be a head coach. Carlos Kruger, fire Pete, hire Chucky. I think it's dumb, but whatever. You can do your thing, Carlos. If you're telling me right now I can hire any head coach in the NFL, I don't know how in God's green earth you're saying it should be Chip Kelly. Or I don't know how you're saying it should be John Gruden. I don't know. Pete Carroll also said last week, I like the balance that we showed. I hope we can get our injured guys back. Pete Carroll on Darian Porter. I'm always looking for chances to get him out there and get him playing. Again, like that's the other problem with Pete Carroll. He just says shit where you're like, you're saying one thing and you're doing the exact opposite. It's just unbelievably frustrating. Unbelievably frustrating. Let's go to Brian. What's up, Brian? Tune in the 4th quarter to watch the Donkeys lose. Boy, was that disappointing. Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I watched a lot of watch parties yesterday here at Chat Sports, and what's hard to believe is my watch party for the Raiders wasn't the worst one. I actually think experiencing a 4th quarter loss where they scored 33 points in the 4th quarter? Yeah, right. I mean, you're up 18, 19 points in the 4th quarter. The Broncos score 33 points that quarter, and you lose that game. I mean, I've seen some crazy comebacks when the Raiders blew a 20-point lead to the Cardinals, right? Like, the Raiders blew, 5 double-digit leads under Josh McDaniels. I remember those. Those are hard to deal with. And I actually think that those are harder to deal with than just outright getting blown out 31-0. Yeah, it was a tough game to watch yesterday. Brian, cheers to you, bro. Jeremiah, Tom Brady needs to lay down the law with Pete and Chip. No more Meredith at center and play the rookies. I wish that Mark and Tom would do something like that. Like, I wish somebody would have the balls to say what needs to be said to Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly. And I don't know if it's a player. I'll tell you this right now. If I was Max Crosby, and I know it's a lot easier said than done, but if I'm rocking that C on my chest and I'm the face of the franchise, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to let my name. I'm going to let them know how I feel and what I'm feeling. And if I'm Crosby, I wouldn't even be afraid to challenge him. I go, hey, like, either we're doing X, Y, Z, or else you can kiss me goodbye. And I know that that's probably not a fair thing for him to say to those guys. I don't think Max would do that if I'm being honest. But at the same time, I wouldn't blame him for doing it because change does need to happen. The worst thing that you could possibly do for the Las Vegas Raiders is have that game be 31-0, go into the bye week, and make absolutely positively no changes, which is why I'm scared because I actually think that that's what's going to happen. My gut tells me that the Raiders are going to make up excuse after excuse after excuse, and they're just going to roll out with the exact same damn lineup because they care more about proving themselves right than doing what is right. Let's go to the next one. Rolling in here from Anthony Fino. Again, y'all, we are live on the Raiders Report, and we are venting to our best possible ability. Also, Pete Carroll just said that he is hoping to get Lonnie Johnson Jr. back after the bye week. So, Raiders signed Lonnie Johnson Jr. He was a member of the New Orleans Saints. He was one of their starting safeties. The problem is, though, he ain't going to fix anything. He's not a safety that can cover. He's a special team safety. And yet, they're probably going to try to use him in the Isaiah Paul-Mao role, and he's going to get absolutely cooked. Sorry, Anthony, I forgot about something. Ah! I love my Raiders. 40-plus years as a Raiders fan. But nowadays, it's fun being a part of Raider Nation. Just because it annoys people. Love my Raider Nation family. I mean, Anthony, if you're here and you're trying to have a little bit of fun today, I'm telling you this right now. Pull up to Monday Night Football. Pull up to Game 7 or ALCS coverage because I'm going to be going crazy today. And I mean that in the sense of I want to smile today. I want to be able to have some laughs. I don't care if I silver and black the F out on Monday Night Football. Whatever we got to do to have a little bit of fun, I mean it, man. Because when you go through a game like we just went through, when you go through a season like we're already going through, we got to find ways to smile. And that's, I think smiling is important. I think it shows that it's a healthy thing to do and find ways to be able to have a good time. Very, very, very important. And we're going to be doing that tonight. Buccaneers, Lions, live Monday Night Football. I'm probably going to be going live. I want to say it's like 6:30 Eastern time because the first Monday night game is what, 7 p.m. Eastern? I think the first game, it's what, Lions versus Bucks. Let's see. Lions versus Bucks is 6-hour time, so 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go live today at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for Monday Night Football, and then once Game 7 of the ALCS gets rolling, we'll talk about that game. If you want to have a little bit of fun today because you didn't get to have any fun yesterday, pull up. Let's let our hair down. Let's have a good time.
You can have the 2-screen setup too?
2-screen.
Hell yeah.
Dude, it's going to be wild, dude. I love baseball. I love this time of the year. I think this is really, truly the best time of the year for sports. College football, MLB playoffs, on top of the NFL. I know the Raiders suck, but as a sports fan, let's watch some sports tonight. Let's have a little bit of fun. Anthony, I'll go back to you, man. Again, dude, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. I feel your frustration. I think all of us here from Raider Nation feel your pain. Pull up on Monday. Let's have some fun. Let's smile about it. Rich Wolf, how long Chip signed for, though? I actually don't have that answer. All I understand was that everybody was tied to Pete Carroll. So I don't know if they gave Chip 2 to 3 year deal. I don't exactly remember, but the first thing that popped into my mind was that I'm under the impression that Chip Kelly is tied to Pete Carroll. John Spytek is the only one that's got 5 years that I'm under the impression of. Let's go to Doug Sherbert. You want to hear an interesting fact about Sherbert? Sherbert, the reason why it is addictive is because they use something to make it addictive. It is from a anal gland in a beaver that leaks a certain secretion, thus making ice cream more desirable. If you don't believe me, look up beaver anal gland, and they use whatever leaks out of their anal gland, they put it in sherbet ice cream to make it more
I thought
addictive.
that was for vanilla. 'Cause I feel like I've heard that before.
Well,
Like
it's not.
recently.
To me, the most common ice cream that it's used in is sherbet, but it's actually used in a lot of things. It's something from it's like a beaver anal gland that makes things more addictive. Lopez is like, I'll take 3.
I'll take.
He's like, if it tastes good, it's going down.
I'll take as much as you have.
Throw it in a 4 Loco. Let's get it going. I truly think Spytech has no say in the roster. It makes no sense why we don't play our rookies. Wish Mark would just sell the team already. I mean, again, man, I have Spytech's phone number. I don't text Spytech weekly. I don't do any of that. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I do. But I will continue to say this. I was told what the Raiders' plan was going to be with John Spytech, and it is so the complete opposite of what that plan is. So I agree with you. I don't think John Spytech has any say of what's going on, and I think that again, is a very frustrating thing to deal with because here you go again. You know, it was supposed to be a marriage. It was supposed to be a Pete Carroll, John Spytech thing, and I really do think it is Pete Carroll truly running the show, and I almost wonder if Chip Kelly has more say than John Spytech. I don't know because what I was told that John Spytech and the Raiders were going to try to do, if that's what your plan was, you are miserably failing, John. Miserably failing. And I wish Spytech would have a little bit louder of a voice because there's nothing about this team that says John Spytech on it. What up, Anthony? I wonder who the F is going through Tom Brady's mind right now in regards to this team. Does he feel like he got the right guy, or did he think Carroll was the best available option? I do think that they probably thought he was the best available option, and I think that the Raiders wanted to go with somebody that had the resume. And sometimes you can't hire the person that has the best resume, right? Like, there's a lot of people that have done radio for a long time. They would get crushed here on YouTube, and it's just the truth. YouTube is very different than radio. Just like if you were, I don't know, somebody that writes books doesn't mean that you can write a movie. It's just like sometimes like shit is a little bit different. And I'm bringing up these points because at this point, I understand that Pete Carroll at one time was a great head coach. But he looks about as cooked can possibly be right now. And I don't think that the Raiders do think that they have the right guys. I don't know how you possibly think that you do honestly think you have the right guys. Because you're not getting better. You're only getting worse, and you're only moving in the wrong direction. Let's go to Chris Cannell, who threw one up. You know what, Chris? This is a 50 instead of a 20, so I'm going to yell anyway. Ah! What's up, Mitch? Yesterday looked like a D1 school team playing against a community college. How good would a rebuild be if the coaching staff is the same? This has to be fixed from top to bottom. I do think it needs to be fixed from top to bottom, and I think Mark Davis is at the very top of it. You know, like I do honestly wonder if Mark were to ever look himself in the mirror and be like, maybe I'm not cut out to do this. And you know, Mark can leave; he's still going to make a bunch of money and billions upon billions of dollars. But you're right. I mean, the way the Raiders looked yesterday, I mean, we were outmatched as if we were a college team, and it's delusional, right? Like it's delusional how bad we are. But at the same time, I think my hardest thing to wrap my mind around, which again is what you're saying, and I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again here, is do you trust this current regime to do the rebuild? I don't know if I do. And that's kind of the other part of it, where if you don't trust this current regime to do the rebuild, then are you actually going to rebuild, right? Like, I still think that this team will rebuild. I think you have to rebuild, and you know, hopefully we laugh at this year and be like, holy shit, I can't believe we were this bad, and wow, like we're so much better after just one season. But I just don't believe in this coaching staff right now. What's going on, Cast? Throwing it down. Ah! I love Gruden. He had the team on the up. True. If he had good drafts, he would have been better. Agreed. He can do that with a good GM, but Pete's not going anywhere. Next topic. If McDaniel's fired, tap him for OC. PG had one good season with us. Time to move on. Again, I don't actually think that PG had only one good season with the Raiders. I think when you really truly look at the amount of money that the Raiders have not invested on the defensive side of the football, I mean, they just don't have a lot of talent on defense. I mean, they really truly don't. I would say the one good year that Patrick Graham had was like the 2023 back half of that season. I don't really know else to say besides that, but from a talent perspective, it hasn't been good. And maybe the Patrick Graham defense can't work because we just don't have a good enough front. And the Patrick Graham defense is predicated on being able to generate pressure with four, and then you can play that style of defense that he's playing it. But, they're not playing the defense that Patrick Graham wants to play. I just want that to be very, very clear. I want that to be very clear. Patrick Graham is playing the Pete Carroll defense. He's not playing the Patrick Graham defense. Let's go to Blake DeFrame. What's up, Blake? Tired of the same thing every year. Hate to say it, but nothing will change till the village idiot sells the team. You have your opinion. You have your opinion, Blake. Sway, I think we get a quarterback this draft. I hope we do. I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, right now, the kid that I'm really falling in love with is this kid from Indiana, Mendoza. I mean, he's freaking smooth, man. I watched him this past week against Michigan State, and I literally told Chugs, I was like, I don't know if I saw him throw an incomplete ball. The ball was coming out. It was quick. It was decisive. Signetti is clearly trending in the right direction. They just gave him a brand new contract. But, you look at that guy, Mendoza, I would love for us to be able to draft a quarterback, but I honestly don't know if they will. If you're Pete Carroll, you already have your guy in Geno Smith. You just try to build around him. I'm not saying that I think Geno's the answer. I clearly don't think Geno's the answer at this point. But I really do not know if we're going to draft a quarterback. I don't know if we will, man. I think it's the right thing to do, but I think that Geno is this team's QB because Pete wants him to be the quarterback. Suave, Mitch, we need our emo-themed show, sadly. The emo-themed show. I mean, I guess I would have to straighten my hair. I'll try to go full-on emo. I would try to put some mascara on, maybe even paint my fingernails black. I mean, we can get pretty radical on it. I'm not an emo-based person. I still want to be able to find ways to laugh, find ways to smile about it, which is kind of what I'm trying to do today. Let's just scream out our anger. Because I literally felt like today I went to the very top of Mount Raidermore, and I just wanted to scream. Just wanted to scream. Just wanted to let it out. Whoever can hear me, I hope you hear me. Willie Pfister, probably. I'm ready for a Kirk Signetti regime in Las Vegas. Yeah, I don't know if you saw how much money he just got. And, you look at a lot of these college jobs. I think you make the argument college jobs are better than the NFL, right? And I definitely think what he's got going on in Indiana, because Indiana doing what they did that on purpose because they didn't want to lose him. I think it was, 8 years, 92, something like that. But they did that right after Penn State fired James Franklin because I guarantee you this, Penn State was about to offer Signetti a ridiculous contract that would have been probably a little bit difficult for Indiana to keep up with. So what does Indiana do? They do right by their guy. And I'll say this, I actually don't think that there is a hotter commodity in college football right now than Signetti. You probably could still say Ryan Day because he's head coach of the national champs. They're the Ohio State Buckeyes, blah, blah, blah. I think Signetti might be better, though, than Ryan Day. I don't know. Signetti and what he's doing in Indiana is pretty damn fun, I'll tell you that. Sir Chai, from Aaron Brooks to Jamarcus Russell to Geno, it hasn't worked. That's okay. Let's get it. Find another Stabler, LaMonica. Raiders need to go back to the roots. Wow, big deal here for Christian Braun from the Nuggets. 5-year, $125 million. I just think that if you're the Raiders, you got to go in the draft. I just want them to try something different. You have tried the past guy had success, and he's not having success. You tried the interim head coach route. That's not working. But the one thing that you've done every single year is veteran QB. Not going to draft. I'll just get a veteran QB. Let's go get a veteran. And I'm done with the veteran. I mean, it just hasn't worked out. And you look at a lot of these young teams that drafted a quarterback in the year 2024. They're all going in the right direction. Bears in the right direction. Commanders in the right direction. Patriots, right direction. Broncos, right direction. Falcons, right direction. A lot of right directions. It's kind of hard to ignore, quite frankly. Let's go to the next super chat rolling in here on today's show. And again, friendly reminder that as soon as we get through every single super. We will get into the very first segment on today's show, which is going to be around the dumbest things that Pete Carroll did against the Chiefs. Fun fact, Mitch. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Ah! Fun fact, Mitch. We were so bad yesterday that the Chiefs had 30 first downs, and we ran a total of 30 plays. That just shows how bad of a coaching staff we have running this team. Just put Pickett in, please, end our misery. I mean, Ryan, I don't know if you saw the graphic. I know we showed a little bit earlier. Can you go back to it? But the 10 times the Raiders had the football yesterday and the 5 times that the Chiefs had it with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Raiders drives versus the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Look at this display of offense. It's offensive, right? Like, you only crossed midfield, I believe, once. Maybe, I think only once. I think it was on that very, very first drive. I can't think of another time that the Raiders actually moved the ball past midfield. But what's staggering about this is you had only 3 first downs. I think what's also very staggering about this is your game plan, because Ashton Genty had only 1 carry in the first, I think it was like 12 plays that the Raiders ran. How the flip is that possible? And then you look at what Kansas City did on the other side of it, and I mean, it's like, so these are Madden type, like this is Madden, right? Like, I mean, this is you playing a video game and knowing that you're just never going to get stopped and you're just going to score every time. Why? Because it's a video game, because it's Madden. And that's what it looked like yesterday. It looked like Andy Reid and the Chiefs were playing on the easiest mode, and Pete Carroll and the Raiders were going against Madden. I mean, it was brutal. I don't think people realize how truly, truly bad that game yesterday was. Because if you only look at the box score, you didn't watch the game. Because watching the game was way worse than the box score. RJ, is there truth to the rumor that Chip didn't want Geno? No idea. No idea. Quite frankly, I hope it's true, because that would give me some hope in Chip Kelly again. I hope Chip Kelly comes down and he's like, I think Geno Smith sucks. I don't want any part of him. He's the worst quarterback I've ever had to work with, because then that would give me hope that maybe we can figure it out elsewhere. The problem is, it's not just the Geno Smith thing. It is also a very much a Chip Kelly thing. Like, it's not only is our quarterback playing the worst football of his career, we also have a offensive coordinator that his head is just so far up his asshole that I can't even believe he can breathe up there. Dominic, Mitch, would you rather, oh, this is awesome. Would you rather draft a quarterback or center O-line for next year's first rounder and an FKC? It's a hell of a question. If you tell me right now Mendoza is available, I'll probably take Mendoza. I think it also depends where are we drafting, right? Like, if we're number 1, this might upset some people. If we're number 1, I would honestly consider taking Mendoza from Indiana. I would also honestly consider doing what a good organization should do, and it's to look at your roster and go, man, we got a lot of holes on this team, offense and defense. You know what's a great way to fill a lot of holes? To trade the F back. And I know that there's going to be some people that want certain players here and there, but you watch that 31-0 game against the Chiefs. We're not a quarterback away. We're not a center or offensive lineman away. We have so many different holes from top to bottom. If we had the number 1 overall pick, it would be hard to not draft Mendoza, because I do think he's special. And I think, honestly, even the kid from Alabama, he's starting to really impress me as well. Sellers, impressive prospect. But with the amount of holes that we have on this team from top to bottom, I would want the Raiders to trade back, because I'd say we have a lot of holes that need to be filled. Let's see if we can fill them. Giggity. Carly's Kruger, we are still paying Gruden. You're right. Bring him back and get a beast O-line. We're also still paying Josh McDaniels. We're still paying Dave Ziegler. We're still paying Antonio Pierce. We're still paying Tom Telesco. Still paying Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler. I mean, I just like, we're paying a lot of people still. And just because we're still paying them, that's like, you bring somebody back that's good at their job. I don't trust John Gruden in the draft. And I think that there are a lot of other better candidates out there that you could hire. I don't even think John Gruden would be in my top 10. Excavator, makes me wonder where he would be with Bisaccia. Again, you can wonder. I'm not going to wonder at this point. I don't know, because there's also a part of me that's like, could Bisaccia be just like Antonio Pierce, where you thought, all right, we're going to hire the intern. Everybody loves him. Max Crosby's defending them. And then Antonio Pierce, every single game he went out there, you were like, holy shit, we are the most unprepared team week in and week out. John Rodriguez, seriously, Mitch, who's going to want to play for this team if both Carroll and OC coach stay for another year? Even JPJ will want out. I mean, there will be guys that want to play, and there's going to be guys that are given the opportunity. But I do think that if you told me that the Raiders made the announcement and they said, like, hey, no matter what, Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly are going to be here, I do honestly wonder if JPJ would ask to be traded. It's going to be something that I wonder. And I wouldn't be shocked at this point. I think if the Raiders traded away JPJ, I think we'd get a 6th-round pick for him, because that's how much the Raiders don't like him. Eloy Flores, Mitch, first time writing in. Shout out to you, Eloy. I've been watching since the Josh Jacobs trade. Just want to tell you I appreciate your heart and everything you do. I mean, Jacobs wasn't traded, so I just want you all to know that. Like, you mean the Devontae Adams trade? I mean, Jacobs hit the open market. And I appreciate everything y'all do for me, right? Like, I do what I do because I think that Raider Nation and I have an awesome relationship. And I feel that I am responsible to get our voices to be heard. I hold a very, very, it's in my Twitter bio. I believe I am the voice of Raider Nation. And that might be a cocky thing to say. That might be a arrogant thing to say. But it's how I feel in my heart of hearts, where we have been the #1 most watched Raiders show in the world for the last 7 years. There hasn't been a person on the planet that has made more Raiders content than me, and I don't even think it's all that close. But also at the same time, I say that I'm the voice of Raider Nation because I know our voice can be heard, and it has been heard in the past. And I encourage people to get their frustrations out, because I know this is a show that Mark Davis watches. I'm not saying he's watching this show right now, but I know Mark watches the Raiders Report. I know that coaches know this show. I know players that watch this show, and at the end of the day, I'm going to keep on doing everything that I can, because I know Raider Nation's going to keep on doing everything that we can. And I also say that because in life, if I'm going to be as critical as what I am, I also have to put in the time, the effort, and the homework, right? And I feel like Raider Nation is so critical of this staff and these players because we feel like we're putting in the time and the effort every single day, every single season. We just want that reciprocation. And when you say and you act the way that we do, it's because we're putting in the time and the effort. So, Elroy, I appreciate you sending this in, man. I really, really do. Margot, what up, Mario? Miss having Diablo and Spillane as our linebackers, man. I miss, if there's one thing that I could figure out, it's why players just play so much better elsewhere. I used to, when I hear people say, oh, the Raiders are cursed, I used to roll my eyes. I'm like, it's not true. I'm starting to wonder if it's true. Because the way Divine Diablo is playing right now in Atlanta, guys, I'm not kidding you. He's playing like one of the best linebackers in the NFL. Like, if you haven't watched the Atlanta Falcons this season, go tune into what Divine Diablo's doing, because I'm just going to read you these numbers here. He's got an 89.2 PFF grade. And I'm not kidding you when I say this. He's been that good. He's been that good. He's doing everything. He's covering. He's blitzing. Stopping the run. I can't, I'm more upset that we lost Diablo. Divine Diablo's playing much better football than Robert Spillane. Spillane's playing good football. Let's go to Renee. About to sell my Raiders versus Houston tickets. It's sad that you bring this up, because Chugs and I, we were thinking about going down to Houston for this game, just to be able to tailgate, hang out with the fans. I know that I've said it, and I still would like to be able to do it. I know that I've also told a lot of fans that I'm going to go out to Raiders-Cowboys for that weekend. I'm going to be honest with y'all. For me personally, and this is my own thought process, I am struggling to be able to justify paying money to go out to, don't get me wrong. I want to party with Raider Nation. I want to hang out with Raider Nation. But in my mind, it's hard for me to justify me spending the money to go out to Las Vegas when I could use that money to go see my family during Christmas. And, I haven't been able to go home for the holidays in probably about 3 to 4 years because there's just been football games during Christmas. There's always something going on during the holidays. Like this year, I'm having a mental battle going, do I go to Raiders Cowboys out in Vegas, or do I go visit my family back home? Because I'll be transparent. I only have the financial backing to do one of them. I wish I had more money. And if the Raiders were winning more games, shit, I'd probably be able to afford both. But at this point, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I don't think I'm going out to Raiders Cowboys Monday Night Football anymore. Because one, they don't deserve it. And two, I would rather invest my money to go visit my friends and family back home. It sucks, but that's where I'm at. Renee, Mitch, what do you think of quarterback Joey Aguilar from Tennessee? I've watched him more. Like, I definitely have. We have a Tennessee channel here at Chat Sports, so because of that, I have found myself, like, just watching him from time to time. He shows some really good flashes. Like, I remember watching him in that Georgia game. That first half, I was like, this Joey Aguilar guy's unbelievable. And you could see the growing pains there a little bit. He's a fun quarterback to watch, but, again, I still would want to watch a little bit more on him to be able to make an assessment. Actually, the quarterback that I was watching the other day that I kind of really loved was the kid from Arkansas. Trace came over to my house, and he's like, dude, you want to see the greatest quarterback on a 2-win team? And I was like, all right, shit, like, let's watch it. I can't remember his name. Really athletic quarterback, makes terrible decisions sometimes, but you want to talk about highlight tape? Taylon Green. His highlights, fun to watch. The decisions he makes, though, are pretty wild. Pretty flippin' wild. Let's go to Larry in my DMs. I would take Mike McDaniel as an OC next season over Chip in a heartbeat. I agree with you, Larry. I might take Luke Getsy over Chip Kelly at this point. I have seen the Chip Kelly offense, and it is bad. It is very, very, very bad, and there's no adjustments being made. That's the other problem. It's a bad product. It just looks outdated, and it looks like teams have already figured them out. Like, you look at that Week 1 game, and teams didn't know what the Raiders were going to be able to do. Geno Smith completed 9 passes of 20-plus yards. Since Week 1, the Raiders have completed 3 balls over 20 yards. Why? Because teams have already figured out the Chip Kelly offense, and Chip's not good enough to be able to make an adjustment on it, and that's concerning to me. At least in years past, Chip's offense was good for the first year, and then teams figured it out. I would take Mike McDaniel over Chip Kelly in a heartbeat. I'm with you, Larry. Because I actually think that teams have figured out the Chip Kelly offense. I don't know how else to say it besides that. And then again, you look at the game plan. 1 carry for Ashton Jeanty the first 2 drives. Again, the game was bad, and you could talk about, because I look at it and I go, Jeanty had 6 carries. And people are like, the game got out of hand, Mitch. Well, let's look at the first 2 drives. The first 2 drives, I believe the Raiders threw the ball. In total, again, if we're just talking plays and plays alone, when you talk about penalties, when you talk about everything involved, right? And we'll get into this segment once we get through all the super chats here. I still got 2 full segments that I want to do on the Raiders Report today. The first drive, 1 Jeanty carry, 5 Geno throws. And then when you look at the first 2 drives, and when I say 12 plays, some of those plays were negated due to penalties, due to XYZ, but still in that play, even if it didn't technically count, in those first 12 plays, 11 of them didn't involve Ashton Jeanty. How the flip is that possible? And that's the other problem with Chip Kelly, where I'm like, are you just stubborn or stupid, Chip? Because I don't know. I mean, there's a dunce cap on his head for a reason on this thumbnail. If you didn't see the thumbnail, I put a dunce cap on Chip Kelly's head. It was hard to find a dunce cap big enough, but I found it. Larry, I hear you, man. I hear you. Let's go to the Golden Bachelor, my guy, Steve L. How is it possible I woke up today without seeing someone fired? To me, when you see a game like you did yesterday against Kansas City, and there was nothing done to justify, like there's no firings. All Pete Carroll did was really back up Geno Smith, and he doubled down on his guys. Like, that's what Pete did today. Pete doubled down on Geno yesterday. Pete's doubling down, we're hoping to get back Jacoby and Brock. And, jokingly, I said this the other day on the show where it was like, what if the reason why our offense is this bad is because we just haven't had a healthy Brock Bowers since week 1? And there's a part of me that wonders, it's probably the gross Raider fan in me that, the devil in the back of my shoulder. It's like, but Mitch, if we get Brock Bowers back, all the problems are going to be solved. And there's part of me where I'm like, all right, devil on my shoulder, you might be right. But I'm with you, dude. I think that because the Raiders didn't fire anyone, it's exactly what they do every single week. They're showing you that I don't think that they think it's a coaching problem. And I think our coaches are so stubborn that they don't think it's a them problem. They're not making any adjustments. They're not making any changes. Again, like they didn't make any changes on offense, on defense. No changes were really made that game. And I don't know how it's possible. Again, some guys were benched, but going into the game, no changes were made. After the game, all Pete does is defend his guys. And now we're sitting here on Monday and nothing's changed. Why? Because that's what the Raiders have done all season. They're not making adjustments. Why start now? Jersey boy, I don't trust this regime with any rookie. I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Jersey boy. We're going to keep it moving here, and I believe we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more super chats to get through, and then I will get into the very, very first segment on this show. Is that an actual quote? Because I wouldn't surprise it if it was. I know yesterday when I finished my show, I said something along the lines of like, I don't know what the record is for the most F words I've ever dropped on a show, but if this might be a direct quote. I actually think this might be a direct quote from my show. Huh? I think I'll say this. I don't know how this got through. I think that's YouTube even saying, you guys deserve it today. You guys deserve it today. What's up, Jeff? Mitch, I'm tired of starting over every year, but it's got to happen again. John Mateer is my favorite college quarterback. Who you like? I love John Mateer. And John Mateer's got that Baker Mayfield aspect to him where I'm not saying that because he's playing at Oklahoma. It's that he's got that confidence, that swagger, that Baker Mayfield don't mess with me type of mentality. And honestly, us as the Raiders, we need a quarterback like that. Like, I thought Geno Smith was going to be a lot tougher mentally. I mean, he's about as soft as baby doo-doo right now mentally, and you could just tell that he's so cooked mentally. It's unbelievable. And, even in the play yesterday, there was a play where he could have picked up first down with his legs, and he just dove down, he took a knee, and we were off the field, right? I mean, if Geno Smith has already given up, why should I have any faith in him? For Mateer, though, he's got that aspect to him. I love the quarterback from Oregon. I know he's not draft eligible, but one of the things that I love about him, and I can't think of his name. What's his name? Dante Moore. I said this like 2 weeks ago where it was like, he's just cool, calm, and collected. He looks like he's never phased. I think that's the type of quarterback that, might be able to handle the pressure of what it takes to be the Raiders quarterback. I think a guy like Mendoza from Indiana, love what I've seen out of him. I'll keep saying this, though. If you were to ask me right now, Mitch, who do you think is the front runner to be the Raiders franchise quarterback? He can't be drafted until 2027. And his name is C.J. Carr. And the reason why I think it's C.J. Carr from Notre Dame is because of his connections with the Raiders. And that's all I'll say. He's got connections to Spytech. He's got connections to Tom Brady. And his grandfather's got a lot of connections to Michigan. C.J. Carr is the name that I think it's going to be. C.J. Carr is the name that I think it's going to be. Let's go to MWD, bad guy. Play all the young guys. You can't get lower than 0. Sit Max and Bowers till they're 100%, for God's sake. Start JPJ at center. Make Geno earn the check if by getting his ass kicked, good. I mean, I think trying to get him, to get his paycheck, I'm down to bench Geno at this point. I don't want to bench Crosby. Though if Crosby's not 100% healthy, I agree. If Bowers isn't 100% healthy, I'm with you. Don't play him. It doesn't make sense to risk those injuries. But I do think that the Raiders need this bye at the time because, Isaiah Paul-Mal's battling an injury. Hoping Lonnie Johnson Jr. is able to come back. Aiden O'Connell hopefully is able to come back. We have a lot of injuries right now, and sometimes you got to get healthy, you got to get right, and then we'll keep it moving. But I'm with you. JPJ at center, it's a wasted breath at this point. We know it's not going to happen. Let's go to the next one coming in here from Preston. Tired of listening to today's analysis? Pat McAfee first take saying Chiefs are back the way they talk. Like, I'm kind of with you. I will say this, though. I do think the Kansas City Chiefs are more back than what people realize. And if you were to tell me right now, Mitch, who do I think is the front runner to win the NFL Super Bowl? I don't know why I said it like that. It's kind of hard not to say Kansas City. Like Buffalo's kind of falling apart here a little bit. Like, who's the best team in the NFL? Is it the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Might find out tonight against the Detroit Lions. I knew what the narrative was going to be. And anybody that says the Chiefs are back, I don't mind it because it was a total domination. But I don't think that the storyline is the Chiefs are back. If the Chiefs are back as your storyline, you only looked at the box score and you didn't really watch the game. Because the real story is the Raiders are really this bad. And we have been really this bad. Like, look at what the game was against Indy. That's really bad. Look at the game against Tennessee. You barely won. And then you look at that game against Kansas City. The last 3 weeks for the Las Vegas Raiders, they look like the worst team in the NFL. They're not, though, because you played the worst team in the NFL, which got you your only win. Denzel Ward, Derek Stingley of the Worlds, and Kermit is making amazing passes. All right. Dylan, I don't know the end of that, man. Sorry. Dylan Anderson, can you be honest with me? With Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll, are we screwed for this year and the next 2 years? Are we screwed for this year? Yes. And I'm only saying we're screwed for this year because I don't know how you climb out of the hole that you're in, right? Like, I don't know how you fix everything that is wrong with this team right now. Like, if we were a car, our tires would be flat. We'd be leaking oil. We'd have a missing headlight. The air conditioner just went out. We just passed 160,000 miles. We're hanging on, man, by a thread. And it's like, we should probably put this car down. And then Pete Carroll's like, well, let's put another engine in it. Maybe it's still going to run here a little bit. Over the next 2 years, we'll see. And the only reason why I'm going to say that is that sometimes it does take more than a year to really implement your system, to really just like get your guys in. But I don't have a lot of faith in what I've seen so far. I don't know how you do have any faith. What up, Rare? If you could tell Pete anything in 20 words, what would you say? P.S. I'm always listening to the stream on playback. Love hearing you talk about anything. Rare, I appreciate that. Tonight, Monday Night Football and Game 7, ALCS. If I could say anything to Pete Carroll right now, man, I can only use 20 words. It might be that last super chat. Yeah, it might be that one. I would just say, oh man, I would ask Pete something along the lines of, do you believe in commitment to excellence? Do you believe in compete? If you do, prove it. I don't know if that's 20 words. I think it's probably wrapped up there. But if I had an elevator speech right now to Pete Carroll, I would tell him to prove it. Prove to me that you care about commitment to excellence. Prove to me that you actually care about the compete mentality. Prove it to me. Let's go to Curtis Bishop. I doubt it, but if Pete and the rest of the staff had to be replaced, whom do you want? I don't know who I want. I want a young, innovative mind, a head coach. I'll look at the names again. They're not going to get replaced, so it's literally a waste of breath. But there's a part of me where I kind of want to do Pete Carroll replacements. There's a part of me that I would love to be able to do Chip Kelly replacements. And if these are the types of videos that you guys want to see, let me hear it, because as a content creator, I want to make content that you guys want to watch. If the Raiders aren't a good football team, I'd rather not talk about the Raiders. If you're like Mitch, I would love to see a Pete Carroll replacement video. Let's freaking run it. Mitch, I would love to see a Chip Kelly replacement video. Let's freaking run it, man. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Nathan Wolf, next up here on the show. You didn't get my message the other day. I was wondering how, outside Raider Nation, what is the perspective of other NFL fans on us, like draft, refs, just in general, just not this year? Thanks, bro. I mean, talking to the guys here at Chat Sports today, it was like they feel really bad for us. I got a lot of, and again, like I work with a lot of my buddies, right? Lopez and I, friends. Chugs and I, friends. Like a lot of the guys here were friends. Yes, we work together, but we are our friends. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Chiefs game yesterday where, when you walk in after like your first or second loss of the season, you kind of get ragdolled a little bit here at Chat Sports. Why? Because you're picking on your buddies. All I got today was, I'm sorry. And I know people feel bad because they know how bad the Raiders are. And I think people looking at the outside perspective are going, I can't believe how bad Geno Smith and Pete Carroll are doing right now. And I'm only speaking based on what I've been told. I mean, even my Chiefs friend yesterday, my Chiefs buddy, he texted me and he went, let me see exactly what he said. He goes, I hope you blacked out and forgot about that game. It was terrible. You know, and I mean, I think people feel bad for us because people know how loyal we are as a fan base, how dedicated we are. And I think people also, like, want to see this channel do well because it's the biggest channel we have here at Chat Sports. And in all honesty, when the Raiders lose, it hurts our ability to pay bills. That's the God honest truth. Aggressive Master Raider, what's going on, man? Also, sorry, Nathan, I didn't do this. Ah! Pete McDaniels needs to be put in a home. That's fine. If he wants to get put in a home, landscaping duty, Pete. Landscaping duty. Ron-O! Mark should sell the franchise. SOS every year. Same old shit every year. Same old shit every year, Ron. I know. George Davis. I believe you're coming up here. Spillane, Merrick, Epps, Hobbs, Devin, D. Jones, from good D to crap. Yeah, I mean, I expected the Raiders defense to take a step back. I really did. And I think I made that very, very clear all season long that I think the Raiders defense was going to be bad. The problem is, though, Raiders offense is worse. And the Raiders offense is worse. We lost a lot of talent, but the hope was, okay, can Pete Carroll, a defensive-minded head coach, make us better? And so far, the answer to that has been no. Huh? Oh, if people need to vent, they send in a $20 super chat to just scream from the rooftop. Yep. Jersey Boy. Sorry, one of our guys is like, why are you yelling in here? If Pete Chip and that glorified coffee fetcher known as Spy Tech are still in here in 2 years, I might be done. Stop slapping your fans in the face, Mark. I mean, here's the thing. Spy Tech ain't going anywhere. And I would say Spy Tech's here for guaranteed another 3 years. I think it's the Pete Carroll, John Spy Tech show no matter what for the next 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. And I hope Spy Tech sees you call him that because at this point, I don't know what Spy Tech's doing. Next one rolling in here from Blake Dufresne. Mitch, do a Mark Davis replacement video. Also, how can I lose fat and gain muscle? Been doing high-protein 4-day workout routine and still have a gut. You sound like me, and if I could give you any advice, it's probably put down the beer. I would say less stress. Get some greens in your diet. Try to maybe get a little bit of the cardio going for you, but drink less. You know, like to me, you're describing my body to a T. I love sweets, and I obviously am not afraid to have a drink or two. That's the way to go about it. I'll say this, though. I have thought of an idea of what I want to do for the month of November. If you're a Raider fan and you want to get in better shape, watch this show in November because we're going to be on our workout journey together. That's all I'm going to say. I do like this Mark Davis replacement video, though. I actually think that is legitimately an entertaining video that maybe I should consider. I mean, at this point, Mark Davis, Pete Carroll, Chip Kelly replacement, even Patrick Graham replacement video. Tom McMahon replacement video. I think that these are all videos that I can do this week during the bye. What's up, Quinn? Well, all aboard the rebuild train. And, I'm glad that you say all aboard the rebuild train because this is actually going to be a new segment that I start to do, and I'm going to start rolling it out this week. And wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I hope that you tune into our show on Tuesday. I might do it on Tuesday or I might break out the video on Thursday, but essentially what it's going to be is it's going to be called the Raiders Report Rebuild. And I'm essentially going to talk about players that I want to be a part of the rebuild, and I'm going to visit it every single week. And I'm just going to talk about it like I would compare it to when I used to do a lot of the videos like the 53-man roster, talking about which guys I want on the 53-man roster. It's going to be the exact same thing. And it's essentially going to be all around, here are the players that I want a part of the Raiders rebuild. Some weeks there might be 10 names on that list. Some weeks there might be 30 names on that list. But depending on how players do week to week is going to change on who I want to be a part of that rebuild. And that's going to be a brand new segment, a brand new video that I do every single week. Because it's too early for me to talk about the draft. So I'm doing the Raiders Report rebuild, and it's going to be very similar to the 53-man. These are the players that I want a part of the Raiders rebuild. All right, y'all. So we have gotten through all the super chats. So here's what I personally need to do. I need to go take a quick pee. I'm going to go restock on some water. And then when I get back, we're going to get into the very first segment on today's show. Reminder, we will be live for another hour-ish. I still want to answer questions. And I'll say this. I am very, very proud, and I appreciate the absolute hell out of Raider Nation today and all the questions that we've gotten, all the venting that we have done. You should pat yourself on the back, and to everybody saying, Mitch, thank you, Mitch. Shout out to you. Shout out to all of y'all, man. And I mean this. I fucking love y'all to the end of the world and back. I am so sorry about how bad this team is, but if y'all keep doing what you're doing, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and we're going to get through this together. And I think today's show is the absolute epitome of why I freaking love Raider Nation. So from the bottom of my heart, appreciate the hell out of all y'all. Mean it, mean it, mean it. Let me go get some water. I'm going to go take a quick pee. When I get back, we are going to get into the very first segment on today's show. And again, every super chat that we have gotten today, you are going to be entered in our duck race. Whoever comes in first place, guess what? You have a shot to win 100 raffle tickets for a chance to win that signed Raiders jersey. So Lopez is going to hang out here with y'all for about 5-ish minutes. Like I said, I just got to run to the bathroom here. Keep asking him questions. If you want to talk to him about, I don't care, anything, college football, a little baseball. He's does a lot of stuff with the Saints. Hit him up with some Derek Carr. Whatever you want. He said, please no Derek Carr.
Do y'all want Derek Carr back? If so,
I would take Derek Carr back.
make a trade. We have his rights. Make a trade. He's yours.
What do you want for him?
$50 in a bag of Sun Chips.
$50 in a bag of Sun Chips. As long as they're Harvest cheddar, I'm in.
Deal. Those are the best one.
I know. Those are my favorites. All right. I'll be right back. Lopez is going to be here holding it down.
Okay, while Mitch is gone, I did see another super chat just came in from Motorcycle Profit saying, Mitch, thank you for being the voice. We don't have a platform, and you do keep spitting the truth. When he comes back, I will make sure that he sees this, but I know that he will say thank you for that. I can read a couple things from the live chat. I know some people were talking about that, so if y'all want to get some questions in the live chat or super chat, let's do it. Got a couple minutes. We're here. We're vibing. Shout out Miles Long for the $5 super chat. Let's get you in the Venmo or the duck race. Miles Long, while that loads in. But you did say Chip had success using up-tempo offensive schemes. So why isn't he using it for the Raiders? Offense has two speeds, park and reverse. Honestly, I think Chip Kelly has really just had best success in college football, and some people have had the ability to translate that in the NFL, and he just may not be one of those guys. He might be one of those guys that's just a great college coach and just can't really do it in the NFL. It's like that a lot, though. Look at quarterbacks. There's some quarterbacks that are going to be great college quarterbacks and just weren't good in the NFL. I think a great example right now is like Diego Pavia. I think he's going to be a great college quarterback at Vanderbilt, but I don't think he's going to translate well to the NFL. So I kind of think that's just what Chip Kelly's coaching is like. He did great at Oregon. He haven't had much NFL success, and I just don't know if he ever has it in him. We will make sure that Mitch sees that super chat as well, though. Santana Suave, what are y'all doing, Raiders? Like, why have I seen Mitch in a dress more than I thought I ever would have? Like, what is going on? But Santana Suave saying, with a $5 super chat, Mitch, dress up like Sabrina Carpenter and do deals for Juno poses. LOL, if you don't know what it is, look that up. Please, 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 LOL. I know exactly what you were talking about, Santana, and I will make sure that he knows what it is. Holy shit, that would actually be hilarious. I might want to be here for that stream if that happens. I'll sit on the couch, I'll drink some Locos with y'all while Mitch is going full Sabrina Carpenter, because that shit would be amazing. Wick, since Venmo was down for the duck race today, we are doing any super chat. You're entered in the duck race. And if you win the duck race, since, like we said, Venmo's down and we can't give you like a 50-50, we're doing, Let me pull it up for you so I can show you. The winner of the duck race will win 100 raffle tickets for our autographed Raiders jersey mystery box that we are giving away at the end of the month, I believe. So if you win the duck race today, you get 100 tickets into that autographed Raiders jersey mystery box, which has a possibility of Tim Brown, Ken Stabler, Bo Jackson, Tatum, Charles Woodson, and Max Crosby. So either or one of those 6 will be in that mystery box that you could win. So if it's something you're interested in, you're looking for a cheap way to get 100 tickets, Super Chat gives you a shot today. Gives you a shot. We're going to run that at the end of the stream, and a bunch of people have already gotten their ducks in. And I do have to add in Santana Swab's duck from that last Super Chat. Yeah. Let's see. What else is the chat saying? Derek Carr was good until that 2016 injury. Honestly, you're not wrong. Maddie, you are on the dot with that. That was MVP Derek Carr that we were watching. And then it broke his leg and all went to shit after that. Wolverine saying he needs a Tatum. He has all the other ones. Have you been collecting those mystery boxes? If so, hell yeah. Vote Mitchell Renz for new Raiders head coach. Mitchell Renz, 2026. Lock your votes in. I'm ready to trade Mark Davis for Jerry Jones. I don't think you want that. We reside out in Dallas, so we get a lot of like the Dallas Cowboys news. You don't want Jerry Jones. I promise you don't want Jerry Jones. I know Mark Davis is not great. You do not want Jerry Jones. Mark Davis only cares about his WNBA team. To be fair, his WNBA team is like back-to-back champions. To be fair. I don't know how much money they make, though. Not going to lie. Yeah. Y'all continue getting your questions in. We'll talk about whatever y'all want while we're waiting for Mitch to come back. Get those super chats back up. Shout out to everybody that did send in a super chat today, by the way. Ron Raspberry saying the Aces are a dynasty. Well, they are. Z Royal Rider, what do you think the Saints would take for the rights to Derek Carr? I really don't think the Saints would be looking for much. Maybe a 7th rounder. The Saints are really just trying to recoup draft capital right now. They've made a couple trades throughout the season and don't have a bunch of draft picks going in this draft. So I imagine a 7th will get it done. It won't take much. Wolverine 0808 saying, who's your favorite Saints player of all time? Being from Louisiana, I'm only 23 years old. Drew Brees. He was the guy. I'd kill to have a guy like Drew Brees back on the Saints. It's tough watching Spencer Rattler every week. And I know he hasn't been the full problem in New Orleans, but God, I would love a great quarterback once again. Greg F is saying, what is it about this franchise? We bring in different coaches, QBs, and it's the same every year. This franchise is cursed. I don't know if I can call the Raiders cursed just yet. I think cursed levels are still the Browns. I think the Lions are working their way out of cursed right now. But the Raiders, they're approaching cursed, I feel like. I know it's been a while since we've had some success, but I feel like Raiders are not fully cursed yet. Yep, you got some super chats, and we have some fun ideas. Yeah. I'll get you on here. Hold up. From Santana saying, Mitch, dress up like Sabrina Carpenter, do a deals for Juno poses. Do you know what those are?
Nope.
Do you know who Sabrina Carpenter is?
I know who Sabrina Carpenter. Like, I know the name. Okay. I would have no idea. Like, if she was standing next to me, I don't know if I'd be able to know who that is.
Very popular pop artist at the moment. Mm-hmm. And one of her big things at her concerts, she has a song called Juno that's basically about her fucking. And there's points in every concert she hits a random sex pose. So that's what she does at her concert. So it's like, oh, in New Orleans she did reverse cowgirl, or in Nashville it was doggy.
Oh man. I mean,
I will be here for that stream if this is something that you do. Also, I've seen you in a dress way too many times.
I would say the only way I'm wearing anything is going to be in the month of October. But I'll also say this. The last time that I dressed up as Taylor Swift, and shout out to Dandy Reed. They were here. I'll say this. I think it was our lowest watched Thursday Night Football show of the year. And I think there's a mix of if the Raiders were winning, I would actually be more inclined to do something like this because I think people would laugh about it. In all honesty, I think if I wore a dress, people would be frustrated as to like, the Raiders suck and you're not taking it serious, which again, to me, there's nothing really that you guys could do that would embarrass me. I don't really get embarrassed easily, but I'll tell you, the only way that something like this is happening is if it involves a gong. I'll tell you that. That's the only way, man. Only way. But I still don't fully understand what I think I have to do. You can send it to me? All right. Let's go to the next two here that are coming in. Miles Long. Chip has had some success using a tempo offense scheme, so why isn't he using it for the Raiders? Our offense is two speeds, park and reverse. That's hilarious. I think a lot of times, and I actually said this earlier this offseason, where people associate Chip Kelly's offense with, associates this offense with like kind of getting it going a little bit, right? Like people will think like, oh, Chip Kelly means we're going to run fast, tempo. When you actually look at the Chip Kelly offenses over the past few years, especially the one last season at Ohio State, they were actually one of the slowest ran offenses in the NFL, I believe, or in college football. I believe actually they were like 94th in the country in terms of like plays. And again, very different. Ohio State scored all the time. So like they were kind of like, all right, we're going to do, 5-6 plays. We're going to spread you out and we're going to have a lot of success. I think, honestly, Chip Kelly kind of got broken by that. And the Raiders' offense looks like the offense that he would run at Ohio State. And, I almost think like in his mind, he's like, well, I ran this offense at Ohio State and it worked super well for us to win a natty, so why isn't it working here in the NFL? It's not working in the NFL, Chip, because you don't have the amount of talent, right? Like the talent that Ohio State was compared to everybody else, very, very different. Very, very different. Also, the fridge is just wide open. I don't know if somebody like going to close the fridge. Do I go over there? Do I close it? Yeah, I don't know. But Miles, I don't know what Chip Kelly's going to do to change it, but clearly something needs to be done. Yeah, Johnny Silva says Ohio State had the most talent in all of college last year, and it wasn't close. You know what I mean? Like offensively, they had the most talent. They had the most talent. I don't know what the game plan's going to be to change it. I don't have the answer. I got nothing to wrap my mind around it, but yeah, clearly something needs to change. But this is hilarious. Two speeds, park and reverse. Motorcycle Profit. Speaking of speeds, Mitch, thanks for being our voice. We don't have a platform and you do. Keep spitting the truth. We've worked really hard to get this platform the way that it is. And I don't want people to think that I only look at this platform and I'm like, it's mine. It's not my platform. It is truly our platform. And there is not another YouTube channel out there that I think showcases fans better than our channel does. I don't think, I'll say this right now. I'm listening to some people chime in on a radio station right now. And, there's a certain radio host who is saying some pretty outlandish stuff towards Raider Nation right now. Like, I get opinionated as well, but I don't try to make an enemy of Raider Nation. Raider Nation's always going to be with me, rocking with me, because I'm a Raider at heart too. And I hope people that tune into the show know that I'm a Raider at heart, and we're going to get through it together, right? Because I'm not going to leave y'all and have you fend for it yourself, just like you wouldn't leave me and have me fend for ourselves. And I think like that's the biggest difference between the Raiders Report, where this is a platform, kind of. It's a community, and I think that we treat this as such, a community. Sir Chai, I'd rather see Asia Wilson at quarterback than Geno Smith. I wouldn't mind it. It'd be a hell of a story. It'd give me something to cheer about. If I can cheer about Desmond Ridder playing quarterback for the Raiders, guess what? You're damn right I can cheer about Asia Wilson at quarterback as well. Santana, Mitch, the fridge wide open is the closet visual you can have to a Juno pose from Sabrina Carpenter. I will watch it after this so I can get a better idea of what exactly I'm getting myself into. To the 653 people that are watching this show, I have gone through every single super chat up to this point. Are you guys down to have a little bit of fun? You guys ready to laugh a little bit, get into our first segment here on today's show? If you're ready to have a little bit of fun, Spam me down below. Spam me down below. We're going to give some shout-outs here on the Raiders Report. Brian said, not mine. Brian, did you send in a super chat? I'll say, Brian, you were on the show. Yep. I'll say, I'm looking at it. I say, we wrote you down, Brian, so. Yeah, tune into the fourth quarter to watch the Donkeys lose. Boy, that was disappointing. Yeah, we got that one. I remember reading that one out loud. I definitely do. All right, I got Hank Christensen, Joshua Garcia, Raider Nation 88, Bernardo, Clumsy. What up, Jeff Garcia? Coming up here on today's show, let's get in and let's talk about the 5 dumbest things that Pete Carroll and this coaching staff did against the Kansas City Chiefs. After that first segment, the next thing we're going to do then is we're going to get into the top trending news and storylines heading into Week 8 around the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, excuse me here real quick. Ah! Bro, I have dealt with the person you are talking about. Wait, bro, I have dealt with the person you are talking about. The issue with him and some of these guys, they just kiss because they want access to the team. Your rant last night was how all of us real fans feel. This is garbage. And I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Me doing some of the shit that I do is probably why the Raiders will never hire me. You know, and I know that. But at the same time, I will never be a sellout. Like, I'm always going to give you guys my honest opinion. I'm always going to give you exactly how I feel. And, you know, yesterday with me dropping all those F words, like, you know, like that's a video I'm probably not going to get paid on. Why? Because YouTube's going to see it. They're going to be like, man, you said that word a lot. And bang, I'm going to get hit. And I'm not going to, you know, probably make any money on that video. And I'm not saying that you guys care about that. And, you know, like, I make those decisions. And I'm an adult. And those are decisions that, you know, I make on this show. But I think people watch the show because they know that I'm a real fan. And believe me, dude, you're always going to hear it. Haters are always going to hate. If you don't got haters, then you're not doing anything in your life correct. And I think that's the epitome. That's the truth. But the moment you start selling out and the moment you start kissing butt and doing all these things, again, I think we know who we're talking about here. But I don't want to get other people involved because I really only want to focus on me and what the Raider Sport's doing, not what other people are doing. What up, Greg F.? What is it about this franchise? We bring in different coaches, different quarterbacks, and it's the same every year. This has been going on for 20-plus years. I don't have the answer for you, dude. And I think that's kind of the frustration of, like, at this point, I'm in the boat of you got to try something different. And to me, the only thing that you haven't tried, is going after a young, innovative young head coach and drafting a quarterback. You've tried the veteran route multiple times. You've tried the old, proven head coach multiple times. I think if you are the Raiders, you have to do what you have never done. And that's young, innovative head coach. Go get yourself a quarterback. That's what I would do. I don't know. Like to me, if you're telling me what's the one thing that we could do different, that's the thing I'm going to tell you. All right, we have more super chats to get to, and they keep rolling in here. But I do want to get to the very first segment on today's show. So to Mex and to the Real Cowboy, we will get to your super chats first after this segment on today's program. Okay? We will get to it after the first segment on today's show. Then we will go through, we'll answer some more super chats here on today's program, and then to wrap this thing up, we will do the top trending storylines heading in to Week 8 of the season. Okay? We still got some shows to do. Appreciate, again, all y'all tuning in. If I had to guess, I'm going to be live here for another 40-ish minutes or so. And then once I'll get out of here, what I will do later on tonight is my plan is to be live at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for Monday Night Football / Game 7 of the ALCS. So we'll have more time to chat and vent later on today, in case you guys did not know. You ready? You guys ready to rock? Coming up here, let's talk about the 5 dumbest things that Pete Carroll and this coaching staff did against the Chiefs. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report. And coming up on today's show, I am ranking and discussing the 5 dumbest things that Pete Carroll and this Raiders coaching staff did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Here's the problem, though. There's a laundry list of dumb things that this staff continues to do week in and week out. So I want to know from you, what is the dumbest thing that Pete Carroll and this coaching staff did against the Kansas City Chiefs? There's 100 things that we could have put on this show. If I wanted to, the moment that game ended yesterday, I could have gone live with this topic, and we still could be talking about it. Coming in here at number 300, this is the 300 dumbest thing that Pete Carroll and this coaching staff did. I can't believe how badly this team is coached. I can't believe how bad this team is on paper. I can't believe how bad we are in every single aspect of the game. And when you are failing in the amount of areas that the Raiders are failing, yes, it is a player problem, but it is a larger coaching problem. From top to bottom, our coaching staff flipping sucks. So please, let me know what's the dumbest thing they did. Let's go to number 5 here on my top dumb moves against the Kansas City Chiefs. Only 6 Ashton Jeanty carries. You know, you can't help stupid, and I don't know if Chip Kelly is dumb, stupid, all the above. I'm not sure what it is. And Kelly and probably everybody else on that coaching staff would probably create some sort of excuse, because I'll tell you what, if there's one thing that this coaching staff is good at, it's pulling excuses out of their you-know-what. And I say that because Chip would probably look at me and Pete Carroll would probably look at me and they'd go, well, the game got out of hand. We couldn't really get it going the way that we wanted to get it going. Why did Ashton Jeanty only get 6 carries? I don't have a good answer for that. And if you're going to hit me with, oh, the game got out of hand, well, let's talk about the first drive. Let's talk about the first 2 drives. The first drive, 1 Jeanty carry and 5 Geno Smith passes. I should also really illustrate that technically the Raiders didn't run 6 plays on that first drive. There were some penalties, so what I'm saying is, like, even if the play got called back or got nullified, in my mind, the Raiders still had a play that they went up with. And in that first drive, it was 5 Geno throws, 1 Jeanty carry. So then, the first 12 plays, okay? The first 12 plays, even if some of them got called back for, penalty against the Raiders, penalty against Kansas City, 1 Jeanty run in the first 12 plays. I'm sorry, Chip Kelly, but I don't understand how that is your game plan. And I don't understand, even in a game that, cool, we're down 14-0, cool, we're down 21-0, wouldn't it be smart for a coaching staff to go, all right, we don't look like we're going to win this game, but it's at least try to figure out how to get this ground game going. Let's at least try to figure out how to get Ashton Jeanty going. And instead of doing that, you just said, nah, let's just keep throwing the ball with Geno. 6 carries for Ashton Jeanty, 16 throws for Geno Smith. It doesn't make any sense. And if you think that this Raiders coaching staff is a joke, I want you to hit that subscribe button, because welcome to the circus. Every single game day, you're going to be able to watch an unbelievable circus act by Pete Carroll, by Chip Kelly, by this entire Raiders coaching staff. But you know what? I know that I'm not the only one frustrated. I know that y'all are frustrated too. I like to say that I am the voice of Raider Nation, and I say that I'm the voice because we are the voice. The Raiders Report is a community. The Raiders Report has proven that we can get coaches fired. I know that Pete and John aren't getting fired. I know ain't nobody getting fired. Doesn't mean that we still can't be heard. Doesn't mean that we can't be loud. And if you watched our live show on Monday, there was a lot of loudness and a lot of screaming going on. Let's go to number 4 here of dumb moves that the Raiders did against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not playing your rookies. And, you know, when I see things happen, I almost LOL and I laugh out loud. And before the game yesterday, I see the inactives come out, and Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegues, both a healthy scratch. Oh my God. I mean, all you can do is laugh. Because if I was sitting in the same room with Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, Patrick Graham, John Spytek, whoever the flip is making these decisions, I would look at you dead in the face. I would walk right up to you, Chip. I would walk right up to you, Pete, and go, you're a fucking moron, because you're doing shit that doesn't make any sense. If we're not a good football team and we need to rebuild, doesn't it make sense to let your rookies play a little bit more? I mean, 88 total snaps from your rookies. You drafted 11 players. You drafted 11 players and only 88 total snaps. Now, most of those snaps are Dante Thornton Jr., Ashton Genty, and Jack Besh. 3 players. What about Darian Porter? He only got 12 snaps. That's dumb. Why not get more opportunities for some of these young guys if this is truly going to be a rebuild? And I'm not saying that I wanted to see Caleb Rogers out there and play, but you know what? If you're going to be an asshole and you're going to bench Jackson Powers-Johnson, I would rather you play Caleb Rogers, who was a rookie that you drafted in the 3rd round to go out and get, instead of continuously playing Alex Kappa, because I know what Alex Kappa is. Like, it's not even so much a we're losing standpoint. We're losing and doing really dumb flipping shit every single week. If we're going to do the rebuild, let the rookies play. Put them out there on the field. We're never going to get better, and your defense doesn't make any adjustments. You're not getting after the quarterback, so why not give your 2 rookies that you can help in the interior help go out and get after the quarterback? It makes absolutely, positively no sense. And this coaching staff does dumb things all the time. And I can't wait to do this show every week. And you know how I know I'm going to be able to do this show every week? Because our coaching staff does dumb shit every single week. I'm actually happy we can't lose this week. But Pete Carroll and this staff is bad enough, they might find a way to lose during the Raiders bye week. Coming up next here on the show, the top 3 dumbest moves by this coaching staff against the Kansas City Chiefs. I will get into this here in just a moment, but man, oh man. Today's show sponsored by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day. Somehow we decided to root for the Raiders, and some decisions are good decisions. Some decisions also, though, can get you paid, and I don't want you to miss any of the excitement this season, and PrizePicks is going to help you really put some money in that pocket. You can pick, predict, play America's #1 fantasy sports app out there where it's good to be right. PrizePicks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. On PrizePicks, how you play is up to you. If you want flexibility, choose a flex play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if your biggest payouts, if you're looking for the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter your play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. So I'm looking right now at a lineup, and I'll be honest with you, this is not my lineup. I don't know whose it is. Maybe it's Chugs's. I don't know. Jackson Smith and Jigba, less than 83.5 receiving yards. I think this is definitely a Chugs PrizePicks lineup. Nico Collins, more than a touchdown. Sam Darnold, less than 229.5 passing yards. Bottom line is this: if you plan on watching Monday Night Football tonight, 2 games. If you plan on watching baseball, playoffs, right? If you plan on watching those games, get a lineup in and wait until you see how much more fun and entertaining it is to watch. So if anybody wants to roll with that lineup, or if you want to roll with any lineup this year, download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Let's go to the 3rd dumbest move that this Raiders coaching staff did against the Kansas City Chiefs. You didn't bench Kai Blue Kelly. What's funny is not only did the Raiders not bench Kai Blue Kelly, but Pete Carroll had the audacity, and this is where I'm like, is Pete losing it? Is Pete cooked? Is Pete too old to coach the Raiders? And we all have that person in our life. I love my grandfather, the end of the world and back. But once he hit a certain age, you start to go, I don't know if he should drive anymore. Oh man, I don't know if he should be a head coach anymore. And right now, Pete Carroll is at the point where he's making decisions on the football field that make me wonder, should he be driving a vehicle? I'm not even kidding you when I say that. Should Pete Carroll be allowed to drive a vehicle? Because he not only doubled down and said, Kai Blue Kelly played well last week, but he keeps on playing Kai Blue, who is arguably the worst cornerback in the National Football League. Quarterbacks up against him have a 124.7 quarterback rating. He has allowed the most receiving yards in the NFL, and it's really actually not close, and teams pick on him every single week. You know what would be really cool, though? Again, it's a lot easier said than done, but imagine if the Raiders would have drafted a cornerback, let's say, I don't know, in the top 3 rounds. Man, that would have been really cool. And imagine if that corner only has 1 year of experience playing corner. If I was a head coach and if I was a team, I would put the guy that's been terrible all season on the bench, who's played the most snaps at corner than anybody has on this team. And I would go out and I put the guy who's only got 1 year of cornerback experience, who we drafted in the 3rd round, who I also think is much more athletically gifted than Kai Blue Kelly in terms of upside. And I would do that in Darian Porter. Oh, wait, you did draft a guy in the 3rd round. Oh, wait, Darian Porter does only have 1 year. So, like, if you're trying to get these guys developed, why not actually do it the right way? And then, in the limited sample size that you've seen Darian Porter, if Pete Carroll, you can look at me, Pete, and you could tell me that you honestly think that Kai Blue Kelly has done a better job than Darian Porter in Porter's limited routes or limited snaps, I think it's time for you to hang it up, man, because it's not close, right? Like, if I were to show you this helmet, is this a Kansas City Chief helmet? Because, Pete, by you telling me Kai Blue Kelly is better than Darian Porter, this is like you looking at me going, that is a Kansas City Chief helmet. Delusional. It's absolute positive delusion. Let's go to the second dumbest move that the Raiders did up against the Kansas City Chiefs, the benching of Jackson Powers Johnson. I want to be very clear. I actually don't think that JPJ played a very good game this past game against Kansas City. Does anybody out there think anybody played well against the Kansas City Chiefs? I know I don't, right? I mean, you benched Jackson Powers Johnson in the 3rd quarter against Kansas City. What's frustrating about that is, though, you only benched JPJ. Like, if you're going to bench Jackson Powers Johnson, why don't you bench Dylan Parham, who also played bad? Why don't you bench Jordan Meredith, who also played bad? Why don't you bench, I don't know, anybody else that's also playing bad? No, you single out Jackson Powers Johnson all the time. And I think it's only a matter of time before him and his agent go, hey, man, clearly we're not wanted here. Let's just go somewhere else. But he played in only 25 snaps, 71% of the snaps. And I just think that the Raiders have something against them. I don't know if it's Pete Carroll. I don't know if it's Brennan Carroll. I don't know if it is Chip Kelly. But to me, Chip Kelly has said negative comments about Jackson Powers Johnson in front of the entire media. And if Chip Kelly has the balls, I guess, to talk negative about a player like JPJ in front of the media, imagine what some of that shit's going on behind closed doors. Like, I'm telling y'all this right now, there's a lot of Raiders players that do not like Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. But my biggest problem with the benching of Jackson Powers Johnson is you singled out JPJ. He wasn't the only guy playing bad. It's just another example of this Raiders regime has their guys. They have their guys, and their guys can do no wrong. They don't have to compete because they're our guys. They can do whatever. But if you get put on the bad list, JPJ right now is kind of like the step kid. And I'm not trying to say out there, if you're a dad, if you got step kids, I hope that you treat them all the exact same. But like JPJ right now is like that redheaded stepchild that my friends and I used to always joke about, like as a kid, like, oh, you must be the redheaded stepchild. You must be the redheaded stepchild. Like, if you're red hair and you got and your stepchild, I'm sure that your parents love you very, very much. I'm just using an example that popped into my mind. But, like, can we all agree here that this coaching staff has a vendetta against JPJ? And I think the benching of Jackson Powers Johnson is really going to rub a lot of players in that locker room the wrong way, because when I was told this 2 weeks ago that there were some players that have this mindset that they're like, no matter what I do, it's not going to matter because the coaching staff loves its own players. I think the benching of JPJ is the ultimate proof of there's truth to those stories. So I got one more thing coming up here, but this is going to be a question that I'm going to ask y'all, and it's simple. I want you to either type trade or I want you to type keep JPJ. Will JPJ get traded by the Pete Carroll regime? What's very important about this is I'm not asking you right now. I'm not asking you this season. I'm asking you, Pete Carroll is with this team for the next 2 to 3 years. Does JPJ finish out his career with the Raiders? Type trade, type keep JPJ. My answer coming up here in just a moment. I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to go, if Pete Carroll is the Raiders head coach, I do not believe Jackson Powers Johnson will finish his career with the Raiders or will even finish his rookie contract with the Silver and Black. And I say that because I don't talk to Jackson Powers Johnson. I speak to people inside of his group. I'll leave it like that. And there is a growing frustration right now, not saying from JPJ, but people close to JPJ of being like, we're clearly not wanted here. And I'm just telling you, I don't think it's impossible that JPJ gets traded before the NFL trade deadline on November 4th. Let's go to the last and final dumb move here by Pete Carroll and this regime. Defending Geno Smith after the game. And the reason why this is the number one, the reason why this is the cherry on top, it's because Pete Carroll continues to defend Geno Smith over and over and over again. I don't understand how you can bench a guy like Jackson Powers-Johnson. And don't get me wrong, Geno Smith did end up getting benched much, much later in the game. If you're going to bench JPJ the moment you did, you should have benched Geno Smith the moment you did. But what I have a hard time really wrapping my mind around is the plan or what these coaches stand for. And I think that you look at a game like 31-0, and it looks like players that were absolutely lost. And I think that this coaching staff also is lost in what their values are. What do you stand for? Like Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, what do you stand for as men? What do you stand for as men? Because I don't understand how Pete Carroll can go up there to the podium and he can defend Geno Smith, talking about how, we didn't really get enough plays to get it going. The offense couldn't really get it clicking. And essentially puts all the blame on the defense not being able to get stops. And that's why Geno Smith, again, couldn't really get it going. But saying that it's limited play for Geno Smith, couldn't you make that exact same argument, though, about Jackson Powers-Johnson, that there was a limited snaps and that prevented him from getting into his groove? You're taking, you're picking what you want and turning it into something. You are taking literally you're making an example of one player, but you're not making an example of another player. I mean, it's like if you had a kid, and if you saw a kid reach into the cookie jar, if Geno Smith were to reach into the cookie jar, Pete Carroll would go, Geno, cut that out. And if Jackson Powers-Johnson were to put his hand in the cookie jar, Pete Carroll would be like, get your hand out of that cookie jar, Jackson. Go to your room. You're not eating dinner. You see the difference? And that's what Pete Carroll is doing. By standing up for Geno Smith, I'm telling you, it's going to divide that locker room, and there's already rumors that locker room is going to get divided. Geno Smith is lost in the Chip Kelly offense. And I think defending the Geno Smith play, it makes you look bad as coaches, and it makes every single player on that team doubt you because you're picking favorites. We're a bunch of grown men. This is supposed to be about commitment to excellence, supposed to be about compete. How am I supposed to buy into commitment to excellence and compete mentality when my own head coach is such a hypocrite that he doesn't even believe it? Exactly. So here are the top 5 dumbest moves that the Raiders did against the Kansas City Chiefs. The fact that Chip Kelly gave Ashton Genty only 6 carries and only 1 run in the first 12 plays, Chip Kelly sucks. Not playing your rookies. Why is Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Peguesa healthy and active? Why is Darian Porter not playing over Kai Blue Kelly? Put him on the bench, guys. Why did you bench JPJ and only Jackson Powers-Johnson? Clearly, you have something against them because you continue to defend Geno Smith, but you continue to rip on JPJ. This Raiders coaching staff is lost, and I don't blame any player. I don't blame anybody out there for losing faith in them because, quite frankly, I think you're an idiot right now if you believe in Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly based on what they have done for the Las Vegas Raiders. I do, man, and it's it's one of those things, and I'll say this. I don't mean to call anybody watching the show an idiot, and I probably should not have said that. I obviously get very emotional when I do this show, but I don't know how when those guys step up to the podium, you take anything they say serious. And I mean it. I mean, if I'm listening to a Raiders press conference anymore, I'll still do it because I do want to know what they have to say, but I think it's a waste of time. I'll do it because I feel like I have to do it because it's my job and I'm a Raider fan and I have to listen to that press conference. But at the exact same time, do I think I'm going to learn anything? Do I think I'm going to get anything out of it? No, I don't. Right? I feel like I'm going to a college seminar and the teacher doesn't know what he's teaching. That's meant to be at you, Pete. Mitch, I'm at work at Amazon and the system is down. Been chilling in my van for over an hour. Do a funny dance, please. Go Raiders. Do a funny dance? How about this? I'll call this the Raiders Chiefs dance. It's a disappearing act. You see it? You enjoying it? Good, because that's the dance. The disappearing act. What up, Real Cowboy? I canceled streaming services a few years that showed Raiders games. Can't keep paying for this shit. Will always be a fan, though. And I don't blame y'all. Like, I wouldn't do, if you told me right now I got to pay XYZ to watch the Raiders, I ain't doing it. Like, I'm just not going to do it. If they're on TV, cool. Like, let's watch them. Now, for me, again, it's my job. I will watch the Raiders every single game day. If I was in your shoes, and I hate saying it because I obviously want people to watch our shows on game days. It helps me out a lot. It's how I put food on my table. It's how I take care of my family. But I would try to avoid the Raiders like the plague on a game day. Because I'm just so much happy. Like, when the Raiders don't play, like, literally the day that I hate the most during the week, it's Sunday. And I hate admitting it, but it's the truth. Like, I wake up Sundays anymore, and I'm like, I don't want to go to work. And it's the only day of the week that I wake up dreading going to work. I love my job. I love being able to talk about the Raiders. I love being able to hang out with the nation. I love the company that we are building here at Chat Sports. I am very, very proud of all the success that we've had. But at the exact same damn time, man, oh man, is this team hard to watch. What up, Dunloo Geek? Yo, what's up, Mitch? 95 total yards is insane. 95 total yards is actually insane. Yes. 3 first downs. But it's not only the offense, it's the defense was bad, right? Like, Kansas City did whatever they wanted. Couldn't get a stop. Raiders couldn't do anything. I mean, it was a true Division I against a D3 game. And I can't even believe how bad it truly, truly was. Can't even believe how bad it truly, truly was. Let's go to Guts. You got some. Just my opinion. But you should go see your family over Raiders Cowgirls. We will be here when you get back. Current Raiders don't deserve the nation right now. I appreciate this. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I'm probably going to lean this way. And I feel bad about it. And that's because, like, I do want to go out to Vegas. I do want to meet up with Raider Nation. I actually had some really cool stuff planned. We were going to do a Raiders meetup at this one venue. But now, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it there because of how bad the Raiders are. And, the problem is, like, when the Raiders are winning, it's going to be a lot of fun. The fact that it's going to be Cowboys weekend, I mean, I think it's literally going to be so many Cowboys fans out there and, like, no Raider fans are going to be out there. I mean, the amount of Raider fans that I've talked to that are like, I'm done going to games. Is the Raiders Week 9 game against Jacksonville, is that home? Let me look real quick. Yeah. That Week 9 game is home. I think that place is going to be empty. Like, there's not a lot of Jags fans. Let's be honest. There's not a lot of Jags fans. And then I know a lot of Raiders fans don't want to go to that game. I think that place is going to be empty. But I might end up going home during the holidays instead. And I honestly probably should. You're right. Nico, watching Pete's presser, what a joke. Blaming performance on guys being out. Well, the Niners are missing basically their whole team and are winning. Yep. That's the difference between a good coach and a bad coach. And that's the problem. Like, the first part is admitting you have a problem. And the Raiders can't admit that they have a problem. And I agree, like, it is hard to win when you're without Brock Bowers. It is hard to win when you're without Jacoby Myers. Like, it's hard to win football games. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But who's the guy that we're missing on defense? Lonnie Johnson Jr.? Christ. It's like what are the injuries that are the reason why the Chiefs just went up and down the field? It's probably because you guys got into an argument match with Jermaine Pratt. That probably didn't help, right? That's your fault. I don't know. The handling of everything this year, obviously it has not been good, but you're right. I mean, Pete's going to deflect, Chip's going to deflect, Gino's going to deflect, and when your leaders deflect and they don't think that it's a them problem, no change is going to happen. And really, I mean, like, that's the Raiders season. There hasn't been any adjustments because I don't think that their coaching staff or your leaders think that there's anything wrong. I think something drastically has to go wrong for them to realize how bad this situation truly is. And I think the only thing that would wake them up would be Max Crosby asking for a trade. I don't think it happens. I'd be shocked if it happened, but they're not making any adjustments because they don't think that they've done anything wrong. Nico, Pete just said we missed Max badly on defense yesterday, blaming that essentially. Bro, we were down 21-0 when he went out. I know. And, when Max went out, it was definitely like all right, let's just get the F out of here. Like, let's get this game going. I mean, even Kansas City did it, though. Kansas City started taking knees in the third quarter. I think even them, they were like, at this point, we know we're going to win this game. No injuries. Let's just get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. Let's go to Dub9 Raider. What up, Dub9 Raider? Literally just put my Raiders Brown tickets up for sale. I'll go to Vegas and just chill. Not worth my time or money, bro. And I honestly think that's actually the best way that you would do it. Like, I still would want to be able to go out and hang out with Raider Nation and interact with Raider Nation. You know what I mean? Like if you told me like, oh, Mitch, like let's go out to Vegas, I don't want to go to a Raiders game. Like I'd rather save that money that you were going to save from going to that game and invest that throughout your entire weekend in Vegas. Invest that with you and your buddies, whoever you're with. Get an extra beer every place you go out. Get an extra appetizer every place you go out. I don't know, go to a concert, go to a show. Like, go to anything that puts a smile on your face. Because I think people are kind of crazy right now to go to a Raiders game. Like, yeah, you're going to be able to create that lasting memory. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You're going to have that memory of you being able to go to that game with the person that you're with. I hear you. But at the same time, I think that you can create memories and smiles a lot easier doing a bunch of different things. Josh I, you're next up here on the show. What up, Josh I? Josh I. Friendly reminder to all y'all, I was going to do another video about, like, getting into, like, the news and rumors. Here's the thing, though. We have still some super chats to get through, and I got to be able to run that duck race. And because we have to get ready for our Monday Night Football show, I need a certain amount of time in order to do that. So no matter what today, this show will end at 3 o'clock. I'll probably just have to end up filming the other video maybe outside of live. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we're still going to roll through our super chats. I still want people to know that you're going to have a shot to win 100 raffle tickets today. I'm doing my best to keep on rolling on through these, though. Josh I, when I do not watch, we win. Looks like I need to stop jinxing us and not watch football. You know, it's funny because I think at this point, like, Raider fans have gone to delusion / like superstition because it's the only thing left to do. You're like, I've done this, I've done that. I mean, I'm the same way, bro. Like yesterday, Wild One's like literally yesterday, Wild One goes, every time I've ever hit a gong, the Raiders win. He's like, I'll just try to get it so the Raiders win. Obviously, it didn't happen. I wore my Brandon Jasper jersey yesterday, right? The tuna. The last time I wore it, the Raiders won on Christmas. They're like, I do shit all the time based on like what has worked before, trying to come up with like my own superstitions. This is not a you thing. I'll tell you that, Josh. It's a Raiders thing. Dub9 Raider. Oh, wait, I think we already did that one. We got Devin W. What up, Devin W? Beyond embarrassing game in the season. Chip and Patrick have to go. Fire them. Trade for Shador. It's worth a call, and you won't. Wait, you can't come. You can't come me otherwise. All right. Wait, maybe you can't tell me otherwise. And the problem is you're not going to trade for Shador. You already traded for Kenny Pickett. The Browns only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. It's not going to happen. I mean, at this point, I would love for the Raiders to trade for Shador Sanders only because of what it would mean to me. Like, only in terms of the eyeballs. We would bring in a bunch of new audience members. Like, yeah, I know that Raider fans are probably going to stop watching if they continue to lose. With Shador, he brings eyeballs. So from the selfish standpoint, I would love to have those eyeballs and have more people watching the show. But do I think Shador Sanders fixes anything, any of our problems? No, I think honestly people that like Shador should actually like want him not to come to the Raiders, because if he comes to the Raiders, he's cooked. Suave, this season feels like a 4-year-old would take the controller from me, log into my franchise, and just press random buttons. Yeah, I mean, this is a hard one to be able to wrap your mind around. I don't know how you wrap your mind around anything you saw in that game yesterday. And I had a few Raiders fans get mad at me and reach out to me, and they're like, Mitch, you know, I tune into you on game days. Like, I want to listen to you and what you have to say about the Raiders game. To those people that got mad at me yesterday, there's nothing I want to do either. I mean, there's nothing more that I want to do than talk about the Raiders and that game. But there was nothing to take from that game. There's nothing you can learn from that game. The only thing that you can learn from that game is that this team quit and that they don't believe in this coaching staff. Or the coaching staff built one of the worst teams in the NFL, and you got everything you asked for. And I don't think that you can look at two different things. If it was a rebuild, that would make more sense to me. But I don't think it's a rebuild because you're not playing any of your rookies. Night Devil. I know what you mean, Josh. I feel the same way with my jerseys. Oh, well. I just like my Duckies still. Well, good luck to you, Night Devil. Who knows? You might just win a bunch of raffle tickets today. Angel, team is so ass. I threw up. Yeah, Angel, I'm sure you weren't the only one that threw up yesterday. Devin, Bo's dropping 30 in the fourth, and we can't get a field goal. 33 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, not only could we not get a field goal, I don't know if we got to the 40-yard line. I don't know if we got to the I remember the Raiders game when we lost 24-0 to the Saints and we didn't cross midfield. Yesterday's game was equally as frustrating as that because you couldn't stop them on defense and you couldn't do anything on offense. I mean, I actually almost wonder, the Raiders were so bad yesterday, if Kansas City would have scored that first touchdown, they're up 7-0, and then they would have just said every time they got the ball, they would have just punted it right back to the Raiders and made them go 80 yards. I don't think they would have gone 80 yards. I don't think they would have gone 80 yards. I mean, shit, you gained 95 yards the whole game. Wild, man. Wild, wild, wild. Skinbone, Mitch, are we letting Patrick Graham off the hook? Didn't see adjustments defensively, or are we chalking it up more of Pete putting his defense in? I think it's both. Again, I think Patrick Graham, he was given a raise this year from $3 million to $4 million. There was a lot of places that, at least brought him in to be a potential hiring as a head coach. Patrick Graham deserves blame, no doubt about it. But I also do really want people to sit back and realize the differences between Patrick Graham defenses that he typically runs and then the defense that we are running right now with cover 3 and Pete Carroll. The Pete Carroll defense right now reminds me so much of the Josh McDaniels offense that it's I'm just going to do what I do. I'm not going to put players in their best positions to succeed. I am going to force players to play my system. And that's what's happening right now. You're just not using guys right, and you're forcing them into your system. Isaiah Paul-Mal, perfect example of that. Rustin Long, tired of this organization, but so happy to be a part of the nation and this awesome family. Oh, dude, I appreciate that. And again, man, when you go through days like we're going through, when we've been going through shit that we've been going through, I rely on you probably more than you guys rely on me. And I don't know if you believe me when I say that, but I hope that you believe me when I say it. I rely on y'all. Today's show gives me a little bit of confidence that, again, the nation's always going to ride with me. We're obviously frustrated together. We're always going to be able to vent and talk about it. But, man, oh, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think of this team. Armando, commitment to excellence died with Al. Mark ruined the Raiders. And, we had a few people the other day say, we got to stop the commitment to excellence talk. We haven't done commitment to excellence in so long. I know Mark wanted to try to figure it out, but there is a part of me that always wonders, and again, I'm not in his shoes. It's hard to really wrap my mind around it because you're sitting there going, well, I could make even more money, right? And he's going to make a lot of money, and obviously the Raiders, a lot of money. But at the same time, I wouldn't ever want to ruin my own personal legacy, and I also wouldn't want to ruin my father's legacy that he worked so hard for. And again, I don't know the relationship between Al and Mark. I'm only speaking on behalf of the relationship that I have with my dad, and I just love that dude. I mean, that's my superhero, man. That's my best friend. If my dad handed me his business that he worked his entire life on, and after 20 years I realized that I'm just not good for that business, I don't know if I'd be able to admit it and walk away because of the money that I'd be making, but I would be thinking in the back of my mind, would my dad want me to sell it? And obviously it's something that we'll never be able to know, but I do. If I could ask, some people ask me if you could ask one question to someone, if I had a genie and I had 3 wishes, I think one of my wishes would be, Al, do you want him to sell the team? I'd want to know that answer. Let's go to Alexis. Mitch, you have more dedication to the team than this Pete Carroll staff. Torture to watch a full game. Oh, I know that I do, and I know that you guys do, and I know that it's not even close. It's just I don't know what we did all off season. I don't know what we do during the week. I I don't know why I even expect a different result on game day when this Raiders coaching staff and this team is showing you like they're not going to make any adjustments. They're not going to make adjustments because they don't feel like that they have done anything wrong. And that's it's a big problem, man. Big problem. All right, y'all. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to run a duck race here. Unfortunately, I got to get out of here at 3 o'clock. And that's only because we need just a certain amount of time to get everything set up on our end and get everything rocking and rolling for Monday Night Football and Game 7 of the ALCS. I have been live today for it's almost 3 hours now. And again, I go live every single Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'll also go live from Monday Night Football. But if you do not know, okay, if you send in a super chat today, you're going to have an opportunity to win 100 raffle tickets for a chance to go home with a signed Raiders jersey to Devin W. Foot on the gas, Mitch. You're the voice of the nation. We have to hold everyone accountable. I respect that you call Pete and this staff out. I mean, I think like it's like what good friends do. Like, I don't want to have to call Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly out. And I'm not saying that they consider me friends. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But I do think that, like, you know, if I had somebody in my family and they weren't doing something right, I would tell them about it, right? Like, if I had something stuck in my tooth, I hope that you guys would tell me about it. I hope you wouldn't let me to continue to look like an ass with something in my teeth. And right now, you know, there's a bunch of shit in Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly's teeth, and I'm just trying to get it out. And I don't know how it's going to happen. And I think I showed early on in this year, like, I was going to be patient. And I was much more patient. And I think, you know, you just get to a point where you're like, well, when's it going to change? When are we going to see anything different? I don't know when it's going to change. I don't know if it ever will change, man. I don't know if it ever will change. So, all right, Devin. Did you get Devin's on there? The most recent one? Angel, really regret. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that one. Not even going to get into that one. We're going to keep the foot on the gas, brother. I think that's all you can do. You got to keep the foot on the gas. And I feel like I'm doing it, and I don't care if guys get mad at me. Quite frankly, if Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly don't get mad at me, then I don't think that they're in it for the right reasons to begin with. You don't have the heart and what it takes to be a coach in the NFL. I think you have to turn it up, though, because what I'm not going to do is just sit back and wait for change when y'all aren't showing me anything. Like, I want y'all to tell me something that I can believe in. And there's nothing that this team's doing that gives me any hope. Nothing. No hope, man. No hope. All right, y'all. So we're about to run a duck race here, and you're going to see a lot of duckies. Anybody that sent in a super chat, you are in this duck race, okay? Whoever gets first place, you're going to get 100 raffle tickets for a chance to win a signed Raiders jersey. That signed Raiders jersey can be a Jim Plunkett, Max Crosby, Charles Woodson, Bo Jackson, Jack Tatum. There's one more in the mix. It's all right. No, you're good. I was like, I always try to guess it in my own mind. It's not a Howie Long. No, Wild One won a Howie Long jersey yesterday. Bottom line is this. You got a chance to win a signed Raiders jersey. Whoever wins this race. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Blake Dufresne with a little bit of a lead right now. Watch out for Esco. Who's this, Cass Joey? Oh, that's actually Batman up there. Though, Santini, I don't know what you got going on. You and the Night Devil look like you guys have been rubbing ducks. Looks like you guys might have been rubbing ducks together. Nathan Wolf, watch out for Chai87 here. Dominic Bouchard, Devin W. from the back. Devin W. from the back. Eloy Flores, hell of a get up there. Hell of a get up. Someone would probably get mad at me for that some year. RJ Constantini with the lead. Who's this in the back here? Devin W. Rich Wolf. Oh, Jersey Boy Greaser. It's going to be Jersey Boy Greaser. Shout out to Jersey Boy. Are you still here? Are you still here? I hope so. If you could just put 100 of those for me. Actually, I think I can do it. Jersey Boy Greaser. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jersey. All right. All right. Jersey Boy Greaser. You got a lot of entries now to win that signed jersey. Congratulations to you. All right, guys. I'm going to hop on out of here again. Friendly reminder that I'm going to be live in another 2 hours and 30 minutes. You just got to give me some time to get my shows together, kind of get everything planned, get everything prepped. That's where I got to be. And then hopefully you guys are ready because we're gonna let our hair down here a little bit today. We're going to have a good time. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are on. I will be back in 2 hours and 30 minutes here on the Raiders Report.